head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Reich was fired as head coach of the Colts back in November. During his playing career, Reich was the Panthers' starting quarterback in the first game in franchise history back in 1995. The New York Jets hire Nathaniel Hackett as the team's new offensive coordinator. Are they also hoping to get Aaron Rodgers? ESPN's Dan Graziano.
You shouldn't hire Nathaniel Hackett because you think it'll bring you Aaron Rodgers. That's the lesson from the Broncos last year. And I don't think that's exactly what the Jets have done here. But we know there's a good relationship between those two people.
Dan Graziano. Hackett was fired as head coach of the Broncos just a month ago after only 15 games on the job. Former Lions linebacker Jesse Lemonnier has died. No information yet on the cause of death. Lemonnier recently signed with the USFL's Houston Gamblers and was then traded to the Birmingham Stallions. He and his girlfriend were expecting a child. Lemonnier was just 25 years old.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Check. That's check. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. And good luck from ESPN Asheville.
Well, welcome in.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Won't you be my neighbor?
All right, you done? We got all the NFL news for you. A couple of coaching hirings that, well, have made this studio much more bearable to be in.
Hey, there's no happier guy in Buncombe County right now than old Flostradamus himself.
Well, I mean, there are some Carolina Panther fans that could be very happy about their new head coach.
They don't seem to be, though.
Well, they'll get used to it.
There seems to be a lot of anger, maybe some disappointment.
They'll realize at some point the right decision was made here, as Frank Reich is the new head coach of the Carolina Panthers and Nathaniel Hackett is the new offensive coordinator for the New York Jets. Jets. It is the Sportsocracy. We are live in the Ingles Studio on ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We are heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, and we can be seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link in the middle of the page, subscribe to the channel, join us in the chat, get the live alerts. It's time for the opening drive. And it's always brought to you by Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville, home of the family plan. Go over to 629 Brevard Road. Check out the stock that they have on new and certified pre-owned vehicles. Jeremy goes the new route. I went with my steady. Look, I don't like changing out cars willy-nilly. I know you get to sample all of the finer things.
I do, and it's great.
But I like having my car be my car. So my 2017 Rogue was purchased from Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville. It's a very lovely vehicle that they take care of, man.
As he said, I get to sample all of the newest cars. And here's the thing. They ask me every week, what do you want to drive? Well, there's no losers here. It's really just, what phenomenal, nice new vehicle are you going to allow me so graciously to drive this week? This week, it's a Frontier. Next week, who knows what it'll be? Head to 629 Brevard Road. Tell them the formerly fat guys from the Sportsocracy sent you.
When are they going to give you one of them fancy schmancy sports cars? One of them real expensive ones.
Oh, well, I couldn't drive it anyway.
Oh,
I can't drive a stick.
You can't drive a stick.
Yeah, they don't make fancy schmancy sports cars in automatic, which is why Jeremy can't. I can't do that. I would love to. Oh, I would love to, but yeah, I can't do that.
It's all for the best. It's not as if you'd go freewheeling with it anyway.
I would be the slowest driving sports car on the road.
It is the Sportsocracy, and yes, we've got the two big hirings in the NFL today, plus all of the banter about the upcoming AFC and NFC Championship games. Your source right here in the Ingles Studio for the next 3 hours. Look, what's the bigger move here today? I'm gonna say it's the New York Jets.
Oh, no, the bigger move is Frank Reich. He's the head coach.
I don't know. I really don't know because, I mean, obviously you've got the path now. You've got all the hopes being laid up for the New York Jets fans of we've hired Nathaniel Hackett.
Well, and we're going to get to that. All right, the Nathaniel Hackett thing we're going to get to, but that's not the biggest story of the day.
He could bring his little boyfriend.
He could.
To be a quarterback.
And I mean, I know a guy with a great flow on his head that's been saying that for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, I know a formerly fat guy who first said it, and you went, I don't know.
Well, that's because I didn't understand why Green Bay would do it. That part didn't make any sense.
Uh-huh.
In the second half of this hour, I have developed I like to call it the Flostradamus Rodgers theorem. Been watching Big Bang Theory, so now everything I do is a theorem. And I'll give that to you later in the show.
Head coach of the Carolina Panthers. It's not Steve Wilks.
And it shouldn't have been.
It's Frank Reich, the former head coach, of course, of the Indianapolis Colts. Helped lead the Philadelphia Eagles as their offensive coordinator to a Super Bowl title. And now, hopefully, he can bring his offensive genius down to Carolina and do something with it. Then my question is Frank Reich really an offensive genius?
Well, I mean, you look at his history, and it would lend to outside of the god-awful Matt Ryan year, which is where I think everybody's at. You're so beholden to what you have seen most recently that you forget the entire track record of this guy, which is, well, it's pretty good. He's had direct hands on an offense or a head coaching job for 9 years in this league. Do you know how many times he's finished in the top 9 in points scored? It's 4 of the 9. That's half. That's pretty good considering there was a lot of Phillip Rivers twice, Nick Foles, Matt Ryan, Sam Ellinger, Carson Wentz. That's a whole lot of ugly at quarterback. But I feel like Panther fans are burying the lead. Frank Reich was very in demand. This was a guy that everything I've heard in league circles was he's going to take whatever job he wants this year. He was not interested in a few of them. If there is a job that interests him, he will take it. But he's going to need some assurances. And one of those is, we're going to go get you a quarterback because you're not going to play this game all over again. We're not going to ask you to do the Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, Sam Darnold thing again, unless he's just completely all in on Sam, which I wouldn't be stunned by, but I'd be a little surprised by.
Yeah, I don't think that person still exists.
What this hire tells me, there is no more likely team to trade up for a quarterback in the 2023 NFL draft than the Carolina Panthers. They are 1, 2, and 4, and they will go get who he wants.
Or they go get a veteran, or they go get Derek Carr.
I find that probably to be less likely. I mean, you got to have a long-term plan here. Derek Carr's 31 years old. I mean, yeah, that's fine in the moment. I don't think Frank Reich wants to play that game all over again. And I'm just thinking about this, if I'm Frank Reich, when I met with Tepper, my first thing would have been, what's your plan to go get me a quarterback? Because the defense, that's fine. I'm going to bring in my own staff. Steve Wilks has already said he will be elsewhere in 2023, Atlanta Falcons. That's how little Carolina cared, by the way. That's the worst kept secret in the world. They don't care. You want to go to Atlanta? Feel free. You're a fine defensive coach. And they liked him, and he had the locker room and all those things. None of that matters. You're worrying about the wrong thing. I watch teams do this with hires all the time. Frank Reich was the right call. Of the 3 finalists, he made immensely more sense than the other 2. Do you disagree with anything I just said?
No. I don't disagree with anything you just said because we've been saying it for weeks. It's great that Steve Wilks is the emotional attachment here. Oh, he's going to be the guy that really believes the most in this team because he's connected to the city and he lives here and he loves the city and he wants us to be good. And those are all fine narratives. But the one narrative that rules all in the NFL is winning. Can Steve Wilks win? And the answer is no. I get the Arizona team that he had was horrible. He went 3-13. He came in with a, questionable, at best, I guess, Carolina Panthers team. And sure, he went 6-6. But is there anything that you're going to be able to do in this offseason to make him be a winning head coach next year? Do you see a path where, and I hear this all the time, we'll give him a full offseason and let him bring in his guys and let's see what he can do. Are you willing to put the franchise? This is like playing craps. Are you willing to roll those dice? I'm not.
Do you know what it looks like when you hire the interim coach? It has not happened a lot in the last few years. So let's go back a ways to I can show you the full picture here. Do you remember who the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs was before Andy Reid? It was Romeo Crennel.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas Cowboys. Jason Garrett was an interim coach. Leslie Frazier, Tom Cable, Mike Singletary, Mike Tice, Dave McGinnis, Dick LeBeau, Bruce Conslett, Jeff Fisher. Do I need to keep doing this?
Jeff Fisher?
Jeff Fisher was an interim coach. Do I need to keep doing it? There is a reason that guys become interim coaches. I will give you an example from my own team. Robert Saleh is a young coach.
Yep.
When he got COVID, who did they promote? Who was the acting head coach? Do you even remember?
No.
It was Ron Middleton, the tight ends coach.
Okay.
Is he a head coach in this league?
No.
I love him to death. He's one of my favorite people in this league. He's not a head coach. It's a whole different skill set to take over a team in the middle of the year than it is to build a team in your own likeness. I've already seen Steve Wilks do that once, and it was one of the worst years I've ever seen a head coach have. Am I saying he never deserves a second chance? No, I'm not. This is the wrong team to do it with. Your defense, I'm not sure that there are 75 people in the NFL that could coordinate this defense. And I feel very sure Frank Reich's going to bring somebody with him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say the same thing I've said through this entire process. Your offense is your problem. So you need somebody that is an offensive guy and has a history of building offenses, which is what Frank Reich is. Now, do I think he got some personnel control out of this? I absolutely do. Can't tell you he has full say on the final roster. I can say he will have some say in who that quarterback's going to be. It'll be him and Scott Fitterer breaking down tape, and they will go get the guy he wants. And he has probably been given a lot of leash to make this offense work.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a 2 years from now we'll be looking for his head. It's not going to happen that way. This was the right call.
Yep.
And you know what? This is even a bigger narrative to me. Dave Tepper learned from the first time. That's what you would want if you're a Panther fan. Your owner that has more money than you could shake a stick at, that has been successful at everything he's ever done, got out of the I can just throw money at a problem. No, I need to bring in football guys. I need to bring in people that have a history of leading teams. That's what Frank Reich is. And he's been good at it. 5 years as a head coach. He has 2 losing records, and one of them he was 7-9. The other was the disaster that was this year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of which, of all the people who I could put the blame on, I don't know that he's in my top 5.
That entire front office is craziness, especially if you actually think they're headed down the path of giving the job to Jeff Saturday.
And that could,
so if
and
they
that should kind of tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah, if they end up doing that, then I go, oh, okay. Well, they did Frank a favor.
Yeah. I felt like the entire time he was done very poorly by Indianapolis. And the further away from that organization he's gotten, the more obvious it's become that you're kind of a train wreck. That's not on Frank Reich. And I think this is a perfect place for a second act for him. And Carolina Panther fans should be ecstatic about what has transpired today.
I would say so. But the message boards and the social medias and all of that, obviously there's a lot of gnashing of teeth going on today about, Steve Wilks should have gotten this job. I think there's no way to know. Unless Steve Wilks does get that second job And then he goes and turns that team into a Super Bowl winner in the first 2 or 3 years of being
I won't hold
there.
my breath on that.
No, I won't. I won't either. It's all fun and cute that you want the local guy. But in the end, David Tepper is running a business here. And it's not show friends, it's show business. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelley Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
Welcome to Harvest Farms, where the best organic or natural products are waiting for you, where the fields are filled with flavorful delights, and every bite is backed with the highest quality and attention. This is a place of affordable organic adventure, where freshness reigns supreme, that can only be found at Ingles. Harvest Farms Organics. You'll love what's inside.
Is it getting harder to find new customers? After all, it's one thing to run a business and another to grow it, especially these days. But what if you had access to everyone listening to me right now? Access to all the customers in your area. As the #1 audio company in America, iHeartMedia gives you access to all the customers you need to grow at a fraction of the cost of digital, video, and social advertising, with experts ready to craft your message fast. Get started today at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Tara, quote, "My doctor wanted me to do saline rinses for my allergies, but I've never been able to successfully use a neti pot. Navage uses suction power, so it's foolproof. There are nights when I'll have particularly bothersome allergies. I'll bust it out, and the results are immediate. It's such a relief. It's become a lifesaver." Unquote. She's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
At Total Wine & More, save big on what you love this month with hundreds of deals. Get up to 35% off over 100 different wines and spirits, including Cabernet, sparkling wine, single barrel bourbon, and so much more. These savings are huge, and even better, they're on top of prices that are already the lowest in town. Deals this good don't last long, so visit Total Wine & More to find yours. Love what you find at the lowest price, only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, B21.
The Sportsocracy.
That is some good, clean family fun there, eh, Cot?
It is a brand new day on Mint Street. Bank of America Stadium. It's going to be rocking yet again next year. And now you got a new head coach in the mix. Frank Reich, who was the first quarterback to throw a touchdown for the Carolina Panthers organization. Interesting. I had forgotten all about that. He was the veteran that started over Kerry Collins that first year, I guess. Interesting.
Well, I mean, and one of the things that you have to look at with this team is you're not losing much. I mean, Bradley Bozeman's a free agent. You got to figure out what you're going to do with Sam Darnold. It's bring him back, whether you draft a rookie or not.
Yes.
I don't really care.
Yes.
Because it's not going to be an overly expensive deal. Other than that, it's a lot of Deontay Foreman. He's fine.
Would you give him money? I mean, you can give him a
$5 million deal.
I was going to say
max.
4.5.
Bring him back. That's fine. You're going to have to restructure some deals to get some cap space. It's not that hard to do. If you look at the ledger for the Panthers, there's a lot of deals where guys are making a good amount of money, but it's not going to kill you to get out from underneath it. So I don't feel like this team's in bad shape. That's the reason that I was so out on Steve Wilks, and I was even more out on Kellen Moore. This is closing in on a win-now roster. Frank Reich is a win-now hire. Steve Wilks is the culture setter. That's what teams that are coming off 4-13 do. That's not where Carolina's at. And you're also in just a bad division with two teams that are hemorrhaged against the cap. And this is not a super high bar to win this division. And so taking a chance on somebody never made any sense to me. It was go get the established coach.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you like it or not, Frank Reich's the most established coach on the market, and it's not all that close.
I mean, other than Sean.
Who was never going to be your coach ever.
Of course.
New Orleans would never have let that happen. There's a reason those discussions didn't get very far.
I was going to say, not without taking every pick you've got for the next century.
Well, that's a gross
of course
exaggeration, but
of course it is. Frank Reich was the right call when they gave us the short list yesterday. It was Frank Reich, Steve Wilks, Kellen Moore. We told you this was the right decision that you should have made.
No doubt. And something that I've yet to hear anybody, I mean, and this news is pretty new. It just broke within the last hour and a half. You do realize how well Frank Reich is hired, right? Nick Sirianni, the guy leading the Eagles, where do you think he came from?
Mm-hmm. Eberflus?
He didn't hire Eberflus, so it's kind of hard. That was the
holdover?
Yeah, that was they signed Matt Eberflus. By the way, you want to know how big a dumpster fire the Indianapolis Colts are? They signed the defensive coordinator before they signed the head coach. The head coach backed out, and they looked at Frank Reich and went, well, you're going to have to make it work because we're not letting him out of that deal.
That was the Josh McDaniels thing.
Yeah. Eberflus, who is now the head coach of the Chicago Bears. He made that uncomfortable situation work and made the playoffs twice.
Mm-hmm.
With me playing quarterback. I think he's going to be just fine.
Patrick Holt with the nugget of the day. How many times was Frank Reich sacked in his first game with the Carolina Panthers?
A lot. 10.
9.
I knew it was going to be a high number.
9 times. Yeah, he started the first 3 games of that 95 season for the Carolina Panthers. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Yeah.
All right.
Time to start the kid from Penn State. Let's do that.
Old Kerry Collins, who never saw a domestic light he didn't like. I haven't either. That wasn't me throwing shade. It was just what I remember of his tenure in Carolina.
Mm-hmm. So Carolina has the, I feel like this was the swing.
No, the swing would have been Harbaugh.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure that would have even been a better hire.
But here. I'm saying of the finalists playing within the rules of the game here, this was the swing. This was the quote unquote splashiest thing that could have happened in a positive way. I'm sure the Steve Wilks hiring would have got all of the platitudes from the national media of look how he's risen up the rank. But come on.
Yeah, and 2 years from now, you'd have had to have unceremoniously fired him and gone, oh, yeah, that was dumb. Mm-hmm. We ought not have done that. This just makes the most sense.
It does.
And I feel like Carolina had 2 paths. And I felt this the entire time, and I think it's so disingenuous how this is being reported. I feel like it was either Frank Reich or Kellen Moore in an arranged marriage with Steve Wilks. They couldn't get Wilks to bite on it. Kellen Moore was apparently not overly impressive in his second interview. Okay, you made the decision for us.
Yeah. Jonathan Welch in the comments on YouTube said, okay, so Tank's saying now Frank Reich's going to lead Carolina to a Super Bowl in the next 3 years. No,
but I'll say this is your best chance to win the division.
Yeah.
And it's not even all that close.
Yeah. If you told me that the Carolina Panthers went to a Super Bowl for the third time in franchise history within the next 5 years, I would bet my house is because Frank Reich took them there rather than Steve Wilks.
I would agree with you. And so now, now if you're a Panther fan, all of it turns to what are we going to do at quarterback? And with you sitting at 9, I saw somebody say this in the comments, but I'm not sure who it was. Carolina sitting at 9. Who's sitting at 5 that loves to trade down? Just loves to trade down and has a relationship with your GM.
Seattle Seahawks.
The Seattle Sea Chickens. Man, that makes so much sense that I almost don't see how it doesn't happen. Weird. There's another story that we'll get to after just a bit outside that it makes so much sense that I don't see how it happens either.
You don't see how it doesn't happen.
How it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's a good day to be a Jets fan.
Jets, Jets.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
We're a gambling show. We like to talk about wagers and spreads and
what are you, a cop?
And all those things. And I don't know. I'm not the guy that pays attention to this, but it seems like the line on the AFC Championship game is one of the more volatile lines that I can recall. You can correct me if I'm wrong on this, Jeremy. But so Chiefs take on the Bengals in Arrowhead. The game opened up, or the betting opened up, right after the this past weekend's games were done, and the Kansas City Chiefs were a 2.5-point favorite. And within 2 hours, the action in Vegas was so heavy on the Cincinnati Bengals with the Patrick Mahomes injury, and frankly, everybody just realizes that Joe Burrow is the class of the NFL now. And so with all of that, everybody loaded up on Cincinnati as a dog in this game.
As they should have.
And then Vegas changed the line. The line flipped to now Cincinnati is a favorite.
Betting action dictated a line movement. Following you so far.
And now apparently everybody's back to the Kansas City Chiefs, loading up on them as a dog, and now they're a favorite again. Mm-hmm. This is maddening to me.
It's not uncommon either. This is not an overly... I mean, it's a little different for a conference championship game that there's not a definitive side in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not odd that the line's moving this much. You got to understand, Vegas is going to have a gigantic liability if they do this wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Vegas is trying to avoid. We're not going to have a liability on this game. If you had to guess right now, what percentage of the money is on which side?
I would say 54% of the money is on Cincinnati.
You're close. It's 56.
Okay.
On 69% of the tickets.
Okay.
Which means their greater liability is actually on Kansas City. It's not by much because the money is so close.
Mm-hmm.
You want the higher percent of tickets to lose.
You knew it had to be right in the middle. I mean, if bettors can come in this heavy on both sides of the action, I mean, it plays to everything that I think the game's going to be.
It's going to be a tremendous game.
I've
already said there's one betting anomaly that's really confusing me, and it's the fact that the over-unders in this are 1 point different. There's 1 point of differential between the over-unders.
Right.
I heard somebody on a national show say that today. It's like, that sounded vaguely familiar.
According to BetMGM, they have the total right now at 47.5. So it's come down a point from the 48.5 that it was. That I don't really understand, but it is what it is. It's all about the liability in Vegas. And I mean, is there any? Yes, there's a path, but is there much of a path? Are you not expecting this to be much like the Kansas City Buffalo game from last year?
Oh, I think these will be two epic games.
Who has the ball last will likely determine who wins that game.
I fully believe this will be one of the most epic conference championship weekends we've seen in a long time. Because there's no scrappy little upstart. There's no Cinderella story, which all of you seem to, for whatever reason, think you actually want to see. You don't, but.
The Cinderella story?
Yeah, you don't want to see that. Your eyeballs have told us that over many, 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 many years. This is what you want. And guess what? This is going to rate in a way that will blow your mind.
Yeah.
Speaking of blowing your mind, it blows my mind on a daily basis just exactly how stupid James Dolan actually is.
Of course it has to be a Jimmy Dolan story.
I told you earlier in the week that, well, he's in hot water because he's been using facial recognition technology at his entities to call people who have spoken out against him on social media. Well, now that has led an authority to start to threaten him, quote unquote. And that authority is the New York State Liquor Authority, who is now threatening to pull the liquor license for all of his venues if he does not stop doing this.
Nice.
That's not even the stupid part of the story. So he gets wind of this and goes on Good Day New York. This is a Fox 5 show in New York. It's kind of like Good Morning America, but very New York centric. So he goes on this show, and they ask him what his take on this is. I'm going to read you his quote verbatim. They're being extremely aggressive, and they're saying we're going to take away your liquor license. So I have a little surprise for them. They're basically going to do this for publicity, so we're going to give them some publicity. What we're going to do is we're going to pick a night, maybe a Rangers game, and we're going to shut down all the liquor and alcohol in the building. That may be unequivocally the stupidest thing I've ever heard somebody say out loud.
Yeah, let's take away the liquor at a hockey game.
You know what? You know how I'm going to show them? I'm going to show them that 78% of people come to hockey games to get roadhoused and drink domestic lights while they yell at the opposing team, especially in New York. I am a New York sports fan. Trust me. It's 50% of the reason that we go. Announce what night that will be, and then take a gander on your old television box there and see how empty that stadium is. Because I promise you, it will be. If for nothing else, to show James Dolan, no, dum-dum, please sell this team.
Yeah.
Please sell all your teams. Frankly, sell everything you own and move to some island country where we never have to see you again.
I think taking the drink away from any sports fans, not just hockey fans or whatever the sport may be, that is definitely not the path to go down.
I will be honest with you. If you told me right now, hey, we're going to have a gathering and we're going to watch football, and we're going to have hot pockets and little weenies in a blanket and all the things, I'd go, that sounds great. Should I bring my own domestic lights, or will those also be provided? And you said, no. We're going to go straight orange juice and Sprites. I literally would hang up the phone on you before you finished that sentence. Like, oh, so you mean I have to do this with, I have to wash my mullet that day. I have to go. My mom's angry at me. Goodbye.
You are in the Sportsocracy, and it's ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Colder numbers settling into the valley tonight. We're down in the mid and low 20s, even some teens. Higher elevations, northwest winds continue to drop the humidity for Friday. Sunshine, high 44, low 27. 50s come back to Asheville this weekend, and our next chance for rain showing up early next week for Sunday and Monday. Some quarter-inch rains for Sunday afternoon and evening. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by First Restoration Services of Asheville.
First Restoration Services has been responding 24/7 to property damage from water, fire, and storm damage since 1987. If you have a disaster on your property, there's only one company to call first. First Restoration Services of Asheville, 684-1582.
Breathe easier in your home in 2023 with Zero-Res Air Duct Cleaning. It's the only company I trust to get my air ducts insanely clean. Right now, when you mention ESPN Asheville, you'll get $30 off your next air duct cleaning. Use promo code AIR30 when scheduling online at ZeroResAsheville.com.
People here are raving about QC Kinetics and how regenerative medicine has changed their life. People like Helen, an avid mountain climber who got sidelined when an accident left her knees in constant pain.
I was not able to train or do really anything on my knee.
Helen was told surgery would be her only option, but then she found QC Kinetics and was treated with natural biologics designed to repair and restore tissue in her knees. 3 months later, she was climbing the highest mountain in North America.
I got a very quick resolution to my pain. I began treatment in March, and I summited Denali June the 7th. It was super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
Get your life back with lasting results. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
For more information about contests on the station, log on to ESPNAVL.com.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at RogueCombatClub.com.
Tired of getting dinged by monthly fees on your checking account? You need Simple Checking from Home Trust Bank. With Simple Checking, you get all the essential checking services for free, including 100% online access and a free Visa debit card. It's everything you need from a checking account, but no hoops, no surprises, no monthly fees. Stop by today or call 800-627-1632. Simple Checking at Home Trust. Ready for what's next. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The Sportsocracy.
You were just dumber than a bag of hammers.
But are we, though?
I mean, people in YouTube comments will tell us that repeatedly. Somebody just broke out a dumber than a hayride in Kansas in a thunderstorm. First of all, you need to learn how to use the ... because you didn't do it right.
I don't feel like the...
but I'll give you credit for creativity.
I don't feel like picking Frank Reich out of the final three contestants for the head coaching job, or candidates for the head coaching job for the Carolina Panthers, picking him out of that lineup. That wasn't real spicy. But I am going to take a little credit for the day after your New York Jets fired Mike LaFleur as the offensive coordinator. I came in here and I said, I have the perfect plan for you. You go get Nathaniel Hackett, and you bring in Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback. And look what's happened today. The New York Jets announced that they are indeed hiring Nathaniel Hackett to be their new offensive coordinator.
And I'm perfectly fine with that. And it has not one thing to do with Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
What have I said 1,000 times about first-time head coaches? Stop bringing them in with two first-time coordinators. I need somebody that's been here before, and Nathaniel Hackett fits that criteria. He fits the criteria of what I was after. I need somebody that's been a play caller, has experience in this league, and, oh, by the way, took Blake Bortles to the AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a lot of, well, he was awful other than that. Look at what he had. It's weird. When you have Aaron Rodgers, all of a sudden you become smarter as a play caller. That's weird. None of Baker Mayfield's coordinators ever got promoted. That must just be a weird coinky-dink. It should tell you everything that you need to know, that where was the Green Bay Packers offense before Nathaniel Hackett? Middle of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Where was it after? Where was it after Nathaniel Hackett?
Top
Middle
10.
of the NFL.
Really?
They were 15th in both years. Where were they with Nathaniel Hackett?
Oh, they were top 10.
Top 5 twice.
Top 5.
That should tell you everything you need to know. Because one of the great misnomers about coordinators in this league, none of them are idiots, okay? They didn't get here because they're just too stupid to urinate a hole in the snow.
Yeah.
That's not how we hire coordinators in this league. You had a resume at some point to get here. Aaron Rodgers has been notoriously skeptical of coaches, whether it was Mike McCarthy, Matt LaFleur, and both of them had a pretty decent track record in this league.
Mm-hmm.
He's had issues with both. You know he never had issues with? Nathaniel Hackett. I can't tell you that this is them saying definitively, hey, I'm giving up on Zach Wilson. This could be to develop Zach Wilson. I have absolutely no idea. I don't think that's the case. I'll get to that in a minute. And Soaring Eagle said, was Hackett ever calling plays? That's the most overrated part of this. He's the offensive coordinator. I don't care who's calling the plays. He's the one implementing the plays. He's the one implementing the offense. But Matt LaFleur's an offensive guy. Weird. Nathaniel Hackett left the building. All of a sudden, they cratered in the ocean. Did he hit Matt LaFleur in the head with a hammer on the way out? Oh, no, weird. He came out, and it went back to right where it started. He's a good play caller in this league.
I was going to say, well, to be fair, the Green Bay Packers also did lose Devontae Adams and all of that. I mean, that had a lot to do with some of the troubles that they had offensively.
And they lost Aaron Rodgers in one of those years that Nathaniel Hackett was there, and they were still in the top 10 in the NFL in points per game.
Okay.
So,
point taken.
I mean, we can go down any of those little rabbit holes you want to go down.
Look, it was my idea, so I'm not pooing on this by any means.
I think this was the best hire, and it became very obvious to everybody I talked to that this is who they had identified as who they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's go down let me pull my old tinfoil hat out of the drawer because it doesn't even have dust on it because I use it a lot. I want you to think about all of the things that have been said out loud. Like this is not hush hush, a rumor behind closed doors. The owner of the New York Jets came out and said, I'm willing to spend whatever it takes to get a veteran that can lead us to the promised land.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Saleh has come out and said, well, we didn't hire Nathaniel Hackett based on his prior experiences. That's called a safety net of if this doesn't work out, because Aaron Rodgers is a historically volatile personality. Okay, don't lump us into that Denver thing where we brought him in here to bring Aaron Rodgers. That's not where we're at. We brought him in here because he was the best choice. You've had Green Bay leak that they would be open to trading Aaron to an AFC team. They're not going to trade him in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
You find me the team in the AFC that makes even the vaguest bit of sense. I mean, make it make sense to me. The Miami Dolphins, I'm going to need you to tell me how you're paying for that, because that's going to get difficult in a heartbeat.
Right.
New England, Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick together. Why do I not see that working under any circumstances?
No.
Tennessee makes a little.
That's the one.
But you have no weapons. You have no weapons. So you're telling me Aaron Rodgers is going to leave Green Bay, where he just developed a set of young receivers, to go to Tennessee, where he has to develop a set of young receivers.
To do it all over again.
I really struggle to believe that. But he'll go because he's got a great running game. Yeah, he's got one of those in New York, too.
Mm-hmm.
A really young roster that needs one piece. It's the only place that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I will tell you definitively, there are two places that Aaron Rodgers can play next year. It's the Green Bay Packers. It's the New York Jets. End of message, repeat the line. There are no other options.
Yep.
You can conspiracy theory this to Aaron Rodgers is going to go to Las Vegas to play with Devontae Adams. The guy that walked out on him a year ago to go deal with Josh McDaniel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of falls apart really quickly as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here for it. I'm 100% here for it.
Of course you are.
I will make my plea now. As Captain Jet Mullet, Aaron, buddy, I know it's been a rough time the last few years in Green Bay. And I know you've heard things about New York that maybe the media is a little scary. Maybe they're a little hard on people. But here's what I'll tell you. Nobody enforces anything in New York, so all the ayahuasca you want. Frankly, there's probably other herbs that you would thoroughly enjoy. You just have to come to New York and win me a Super Bowl. That's all I need from you. That's it. And then you will be a legend here forever. You'll have the legacy that you've always wanted because you will have ended the curse of Joe Namath on the New York Jets.
I'm glad you said it before I had the
good.
chance to.
That felt so good.
Because when it all comes down to it, we're all chasing that one thing. We're all chasing that silver football on a pedestal. And if you think selling out your, quote-unquote, selling out your franchise isn't worth it to get one of those, then you're not a real fan. You can hate Aaron Rodgers all you want to, but New York Jets fans, get on board, baby. Because Aaron's coming to town. I think this is a done deal.
I can't say it's a done deal. I cannot say that. But we got to take a commercial break. There is one part of this that I did not think of when you originally opined this. Because I said, I do not understand how this is going to benefit Green Bay in any way. Mm-hmm. And then, like the big dumb bear I am, somebody had to lay out a honey trail and take me right to the num-nums. And when I found it, now I can't unsee it.
You're in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. When I finally drove the old car into the grave, I knew there was only one place I was going to go. Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville, home of the family plan. And yes, they treat you like family. I went in, told them what I was looking for, told them my budget, and in no time, I was signing the paperwork on my certified pre-owned vehicle. They have the area's largest selection on quality pre-owned vehicles and certified Nissans. They go through a 167-point inspection, so you know it's not going to let you down. They gave me the Carfax report, so I know the history of my vehicle. And the Fred Anderson family plan gives me things like oil changes and car washes and loaner cars if I have to have major work done on the car in the future. For me, buying a car has always been an intimidating thought. But the folks at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville made it super easy. Don't be like me. Don't wait till the last minute to get a deal done. Go to AndersonNissan.com or stop by the showroom at 629 Brevard Road. And don't forget to mention we sent you from the Sportsocracy and get a $250 bonus on your trade-in at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
Welcome to Harvest Farms, where the best organic or natural products are waiting for you, where the fields are filled with flavorful delights, and every bite is backed with the highest quality and attention. This is a place of affordable organic adventure, where freshness reigns supreme, that can only be found at Ingles. Harvest Farms Organics. You'll love what's inside.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Confession, I'm a hopeless romantic, and I love a deal. I just went to Kohl's and earned Kohl's Cash, plus got an extra 15% off already great deals, like 60% off a necklace for my mom and 40% off PJs for my daughter. Not to mention, I found myself a fragrance set from Sephora at Kohl's for less than $50. With more gifts and more savings, what's not to love? Select styles. Offers end January 29th. Sephora coupons and Kohl's Cash do not apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Before new Cascade Platinum Plus, I would pre-rinse all my dishes because my old detergent just wouldn't get them clean. But now, I do dishes differently. A no pre-wash, no rewash, money-back guaranteed kind of different. Because Cascade Platinum Plus has double the grease-fighting power of Dawn built right in, with twice the scrubbing power, giving me a clean that lets me break all the dish rules. I just scrape, load, and I'm done. Yep, so clean. With Cascade Platinum Plus, I dare to dish differently.
Confession, I'm a hopeless romantic, and I love a deal. I just went to Kohl's and earned Kohl's Cash, plus got an extra 15% off already great deals, like 60% off a necklace for my mom and 40% off PJs for my daughter. Not to mention, I found myself a fragrance set from Sephora at Kohl's for less than $50. With more gifts and more savings, what's not to love? Select styles. Offers end January 29th. Sephora, coupons, and Kohl's Cash do not apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
It's ESPN Asheville. This is the Sportsocracy, and Aaron Rodgers could be headed to the Big Apple.
Jets, Jets.
And I just love it. For as much crap as Jeremy gave me when I went, oh, Tom Brady's coming, we're going to win a Super Bowl. Now he gets to experience the exact same thing.
Oh, yeah, I'll sign the contract in blood right now. I mean, do I have to cut a finger off? Because, frankly, if I do, domestic lighter would help.
Right.
Yeah, now that I've seen this, I can't unsee it. And that's the other part of this. This is where people that don't deal with the New York media on a daily basis, this is where you don't understand. The Jets did this knowing full well what this was going to lead to. So now anything that's not Aaron Rodgers will be met with aggressive skepticism.
Yes, indeed.
Derek Carr, any other quarterback, it doesn't matter. Jimmy Garoppolo, there's nothing you can do that will be met with anything but skepticism but Aaron Rodgers, which is why I think they went into this with their eyes wide open. Now, it takes two to tango. So the question that I had was, how would this in any way benefit the Green Bay Packers? And the answer is very, very, very simple. A, you get rid of the headache once and for all. Not another offseason of what's Aaron going to do. Not another offseason of will he or won't he. It's done. It actually won't cost you as much as people think, because in a trade, it would be prorated over the course of time. So you're going to have one really ugly year. Weird. Who do you have under contract for one more year? Jordan Love. That first-round pick that you made that's just been the greatest boo-boo kitty in the history of time. And you treat him like Daniel Jones for a year. If you come out here and show out, then yeah, a year from now, we got our quarterback of the future. And if you don't, we're going to go 3-14, heading into a quarterback class that could be historic with Quinn Ewers, Caleb Williams, and Drake May. And then Green Bay has one blip year, and they carry on what will at that point be a 60-year tradition of having a franchise quarterback. And yes, it will cost 2-1 from the Jets, and they will do it in a heartbeat.
All right, we got a super chat from our good friend Gage Camplin in the YouTube chat.
I'm your huckleberry.
He says, do you make the trade if Green Bay wants 2 firsts and Garrett Wilson?
No, but you're not getting that. Green Bay put it out, and always ask, who wanted you to know that? It would start at 2 1s. Mm-hmm. All right, so that means it's 2 1s because you're not getting more than that. Yeah, they're not coming off Garrett Wilson. It wouldn't make any sense, and you won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I will give you 13 this year. I will give you my 1 next year, which with Aaron Rodgers will be in the 20s. Done. Because do you know what that equates to? Basically the 5th pick in the draft. Would I give up the 5th pick in the draft right now for 2 years of Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
With this roster?
Yes.
100% I would. 100% I would. Because I have a ton of cheap talent because I have drafted really, really well. But what are you going to do after Aaron Rodgers? I don't care.
No.
I'm living in the moment right now.
Yes.
All right, this is a team that hasn't been to a Super Bowl in 54 years. I'm living in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Because this is what you do. This is what you do when you take that lovable and not always lovable little loser and give them hope.
Mm-hmm.
You go, whatever it costs, and I don't care.
And here's the thing. I understand where people would have reservations of giving that much up for a 39-year-old quarterback. I'm well aware of that. My argument to that would be, okay, so what else do you do? You have a win-now roster, and nobody can tell you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have some money because there are some older vets that are probably not going to make it back on this roster. I'm looking at Carl Lawson and C.J. Mosley specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have some money, you're going to have some play, and you've got a really good team. This is a make or break year for Robert Saleh. It doesn't matter how much people like me like him. You miss the playoffs again, you're LMNO fired. Joe Douglas, it doesn't matter that you just had one of the greatest drafts in team history. You miss the playoffs for a 4th time, LMNO fired. So, yeah, this is your chips to the middle of the table. I'm here for the rest of my career. And Green Bay, you're just tapping out on a year. All you're doing is getting 1 year ahead of what would happen if he just retired. Because ask yourself this. There's $17 million over the salary cap. If Aaron retires right now, where do you go? Oh, you go into the same platitude of be terrible with Jordan Love for 1 year with no extra picks. That's where I missed the boat.
Yes.
Of you've peaked. And if you just send him away, okay, he goes and wins the Super Bowl with the Jets. Yeah, that's going to call a lot of us into question. What's the alternative? Yeah, you trot out there and do this again next year and go 10-7 and get beat in the playoffs?
Or nothing. Or nothing. Or Aaron just says, screw it, I'm done. And he leaves, and you get nothing out of the deal. That was my point the entire time. We went round and round and round about this.
Oh, I think he meant, by the way, I think Gage meant Zach Wilson.
Oh, well, yeah, you can have Zach Wilson all you want to.
Come on. I'm not just – I mean, I would do it. I don't like that as much because I was already mentally preparing to recoup a little bit of draft capital off Zach Wilson. There are still teams in the league that would give you a 3 for him. I mean, and I know it's a 3, but you need all the pieces you can get.
I would happily give up. If I called Green Bay and said, I'm willing to give you number 13 this year and a 1 next year, and they went, yeah, I want a 3 next year as well. Okay, I'm in. Like, to me, that's not enough. That's not a deal breaker.
I don't disagree with you.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page there.
And by the way, that would be one of the great farce quarterback competitions ever. Can you imagine Jordan Love and Zach Wilson going into next year as the 1A and 1B in Green Bay? Just seeing which one of you actually knows which direction we're headed. Who knows which end zone we're playing towards right now? You get the job.
Mm-hmm. You're in the sport. Now, this is not a done deal. This is not a done deal. There's no Aaron Rodgers news as of now.
But it could happen.
But we do know that Nathaniel Hackett, the former offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, and, of course, failed head coach for the Denver Broncos, is now the offensive coordinator for the New York Jets.
We want to lean more on the former than the latter.
Coming up next, we'll have the SportsCenter update, and then it'll be Tar Heel time with the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, Jones Angell.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Colder numbers settling into the valley tonight. We're down in the mid and low 20s, even some teens. Higher elevations, northwest winds continue to drop the humidity for Friday. Sunshine, high 44, low 27. 50s come back to Asheville this weekend, and our next chance for rain showing up early next week for Sunday and Monday. Some quarter-inch rains for Sunday afternoon and evening. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Save big store-wide at the Truckload event at Lowe's happening now. For a limited time, get deals on select tools and accessories. Shop the event in-store or online today. Valid 1/26 through 2/8. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for details.
Staples Print and Marketing is committed to quality and printing perfect every time. Now at Staples, get $10 off your document printing and marketing materials order of $50 or more. Offer ends 2/25. See staples.com/store/printbig for details. Try Staples and see the difference.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Your passion is NFL football. Your access is total. Every weekday, NFL Total Access hits you with uncut.
He can't be stopped.
Uncensored.
I love that.
And unapologetic takes on all things NFL.
That's how crazy it is.
We go beyond what happened to tell you how it happened and what happens now.
Those are the facts.
On the field, inside the huddle, and under the helmet. This is NFL Total Access, the podcast. Listen weekdays on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225C.
KTJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio
The
station.
new head coach of the Carolina Panthers and the lawyers for interim coach Steve Wilks are not happy about it. Wilks is part of a discrimination lawsuit against the NFL, and his law firm says they are shocked and disturbed by the hiring of Reich, saying there is a legitimate race problem in the NFL. Bengals and Chiefs on Sunday for the AFC title. Kansas City quarterback Patrick Mahomes is hoping he'll be able to play his normal game.
Obviously, I feel like I can still do a lot of things, but it's gonna. We'll see as we get closer and closer, and we'll see during the game. I mean, you can't fully do exactly what you're going to be in those moments in the game, but all I can do is prepare myself the best way possible, and then when we get in the game, you hope adrenaline kind of takes over and you can make those throws when you need to.
Patrick Mahomes. 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan says he expects Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell to play in the NFC title game against the Eagles. Both running backs are expected to miss practice today.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Cash. That's cash. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. And good luck from ESPN Asheville.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. We are live in the Ingles Studio. As always, you can hear us locally on 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Everywhere you go on the iHeart Radio app. Plus, you can see our beautiful faces on the YouTube stream. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click that live video link. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and that'll get you into the chat. And yes, we even have the beautiful face of our very next guest here up on the YouTube stream. Jones Angell, the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels. Welcome into the show again, my friend. It's always good to talk to you.
You're supposed to want to encourage people to watch the YouTube stream, Tank, not discourage. But no, it's good to be with you.
You are a bigger sell. Your face is a much bigger sell than mine. So let's just realize where we stand here at the moment. You are the pretty one of the three of us, just to say. So the Tar Heels. I mean, look, we're on a bit of a winning streak here. Sitting third in the ACC. And how are things? Are things coming together?
Yeah, I feel like Carolina is playing better. I don't think the Tar Heels are a finished product, certainly. But one thing that would be helpful, Tank, and I do think the fact that the Tar Heels don't play this weekend just due to their bye week, if you will, or bye session, if you will, within conference play, because of course, with 15 teams, every time you go through either a weekend or a midweek session, somebody's not playing. So this is the Tar Heels' turn coming up this weekend. I do think it comes at a good time just to hopefully allow them to get a little healthier. I mean, we saw R.J. Davis was knocked around in that game against Syracuse, took a couple elbows up to the head, had a finger issue at one point in time. And so I think it's good for him that he gets a little extra time to rest. Puff Johnson hasn't played in the last two games for Carolina either with a knee issue. And, I do think just those injuries, Tank, while Carolina has not suffered, and I'll knock on wood here from the Tar Heel perspective, they have not suffered a massive season-ending type of injury outside of Will Shaver, who broke his foot and is done for the year, but Will was playing spot minutes still early here in his career. They haven't had a huge injury like that, but they have had just kind of consistent injuries that are keeping guys out of a handful of games at a time. And so whether that was Armando Bacot, who's missed a couple games, Pete Nance with his back missed a couple games, Puff Johnson, just mentioned R.J. Davis hadn't missed any games but was knocked around. I think if Carolina played this weekend, he would at least be I'd say questionable maybe to play. That's my term. Certainly nothing official. And so Jalen Washington. So Carolina just hasn't had its full deck of cards very often, and so I think to be able to get a weekend to regroup a little bit. Tar Heels practice today. They're actually practicing right now. They're going to practice tomorrow, and then get a little time off after that. I think that'll be good for them. I do think they're playing better. I think Carolina, from this point forward, Tank, the Tar Heels can win every single game they play in the regular season. I think they go into every game feeling that they are just as good, if not better, than the team that they're playing, but that they know that they have to play to a certain level to have a chance to win. And I kind of feel like that's where the Tar Heels are. Not finished, but getting better, and will need to continue to get healthy and to get better to achieve the things they want to achieve, but taking steps in that direction.
Yep. The mantra to me of this team, Hubert Davis said it at the beginning of the season, and I'm going to continue to spout it. You want to come together and be playing your best basketball in April, not in January. So
yeah, and there's no doubt. And I mean, and I don't think anybody who's seen Carolina would argue that the Tar Heels aren't better now than they were a month ago or 2 months ago, and that's a good thing. That's what you want. And so I do think Carolina has taken some steps, whether it's just in getting more comfortable with one another out on the court, because as we've talked about, even though this is a similar team to last year, it's not exactly the same. Whether that's guys on the bench kind of figuring out where they fit in the grand scheme of things and how they can be most helpful, whether that's just seeing their individual games develop some. Caleb Love's been in a shooting funk, but really had his best game shooting the basketball against Syracuse, best game that he's had in a while in that regard. And so I think it's a combination of all those things, and that's the kind of growth you want to continue to see here over the next 6 weeks of the regular season and then into the postseason after that.
Caleb Love shooting 28% on the season. Now, he was, as you mentioned, he was 3 for 5 from long range against Syracuse the other night. So it's good to see. It's good to see games like that pop up. But have there been discussions, I'm sure, within the team of, you've taken 143 shots this year. Maybe shot selection needs to be a key focus for the stretch of the rest of the season.
Sure, a couple different things. Caleb Love's never been a 45% 3-point shooter or something. I mean that just has never been him. But he's better than a 28% 3-point shooter or whatever he's sitting at right now as well. And so I do think some of it is Caleb went through a little bit of a tough shooting stretch. I think at some point when that goes longer than a game or two, it starts to get in your head a little bit, and sometimes that's hard to get out of. Hubert Davis said the other day, that he, as a shooter, he knew when the ball wasn't going in, of course. And so he didn't like to have everybody else's opinion on why his shot wasn't going in. I'm talking about Coach Davis talking about himself at this point in time. But then he also said it had gotten to the point with Caleb that, he mentioned just a thing or two mechanically that he thought might help him. And so I know Caleb Love's been working really hard with Jeff Lebo, Tar Heel assistant coach, and, of course, a terrific shooter himself. Outside of just the regular practice hours, Caleb's worked some by himself in that regard as well. And so he's certainly working hard at trying to get things back on track. Now, shot selection, I think that's always a discussion, not just with Caleb Love, but with anybody for Carolina. I think, and Hubert Davis has said this, when you're not shooting well, the first thing you look for is mechanics, and then the next thing you look for is shot selection. And, are the shots that you're taking too difficult? Are they shots that an excellent shooter isn't going to make a high percentage of the time? And I thought, Caleb Love doesn't mind taking difficult shots. He doesn't mind taking big shots. That's always been a part of his offensive game. That's a part of what has made him such a positive player. But you have to still take smart shots as well. I think some of what hurts the perception of some of Caleb's shot selection is that if a play breaks down for Carolina and it gets to the last 4 seconds of the shot clock, a lot of times it's him with the ball in his hands and everybody going, all right, Caleb, go make something happen. And so that does happen sometimes, and that's just a low percentage shot. But I think he and anyone, and especially when you're not shooting as well as you want to, I think the smartness level, if you will, of the shot is something to think about and to make sure that you're taking good looks. And if you're taking good looks, they're going to go in more often. Hopefully that builds on itself and et cetera. And so that was certainly a positive step, I thought, on Tuesday, and you hope for Caleb that continues because he's a better shooter than what you've seen so far this year for sure.
Carolina coming off of a few wins in a row here, but, of course, taking down the rival over the weekend was the big one in Chapel Hill, 80-69 over NC State. And speaking of low percentage shots, the almost half-court shot from R.J. Davis with the end of the shot clock winding down. How did that feel, watching that go in?
Well, I think that was in that time period of the game where R.J. Davis scored something like 12 straight and 14 out of 16 or something like that for Carolina, and he was feeling it that day offensively. Now, I don't know if that shot, although he banked in a half quarter against Syracuse too, that got waved off because of the foul call in the backcourt. So he's certainly capable of making difficult shots. But I think it just speaks to how efficient R.J. Davis has been, that even that shot's going to go in for him right now. I mean, he's just been shooting at a really high level. We talked about it some, I think, last week, Tank, where I do think his finger was bothering him after that dislocation right before the season started, which I do think is a little bit of a concern that he hurt the tip of his forefinger in that game against Syracuse. That's something, because that was on his shooting hand. That's something worth keeping an eye on once Carolina comes back from this break this weekend, because without Caleb Love shooting great, as we discussed, R.J. Davis has by far been the most viable threat from the perimeter for Carolina as the Tar Heels have continued to improve. And so it is and will continue to be difficult for Carolina to beat good teams if neither R.J. Davis nor Caleb Love is shooting well. Can they win a game and survive it? Yes, but can they win 3-4 games? Can they win 6 games in March if neither of those guys is shooting well? No, that would be too much to overcome. And so that shot that RJ made against NC State, I think, was just a nice summary of how well he has been shooting. And Carolina would love for things like that to continue. But I tell you what, Tank, I thought I know Armando Bacot, and deservedly so, got the headlines after that State game as he became Carolina's all-time leading rebounder and double-double man. Yeah, I thought R.J. Davis was the most dominant factor in that game. Yeah, he controlled the game. State is so good with its defensive pressure, and Carolina only had 7 turnovers. And a big reason for that was R.J. Davis' ball handling, and whether he was getting to the free throw line, which he did a ton in that game, whether he was getting his own shot, whether he was passing to teammates, and he didn't even get credited with an assist in the entire game, but he's still distributing the ball, getting the offense moving, getting it started, and I thought he just was masterful in that game, controlling the action, both for himself and for the team.
His leadership is going to be huge to the stretch, and I felt like he, stepped up into that role in that Final Four run of last year as well. He has quickly gone from ancillary piece to being kind of the straw that stirs the drink for this team, or I guess maybe the secondary straw to Armando Bacot for this team.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think if you voted right now, I think Armando Bacot's Player of the Year, and I think R.J. Davis is in serious consideration for first or second team All ACC. It's hard to get 2 guys on that first team now because there's so many teams in the league and there's a lot of great players. But I think R.J. Davis and Armando Bacot, not just talent-wise but production-wise, have been 2 of the best, we'll say 10 players in the ACC so far this season. And they right now, no question, are the two that the Tar Heels need to be successful for the team to be successful. And that's where I think we can go back to that first conversation that we had about Caleb Love as well, because then, Tank, if all of a sudden Caleb starts finding a little bit of the form that you know he has, that we've seen during his career, then I think that makes Carolina a much more dangerous team. Yeah, I was talking to somebody about this today. I don't think you've seen Carolina at its very best so far this season. I think there's another 15% of 20% of play in there. I'm not so sure you can say that about all the teams in the conference or even all the teams nationally that you consider good teams. I think Carolina's still got something in the tank there that if it can find and consistently have, it really takes the Tar Heels to a different level than what we've seen this year. And I think what we've seen this year, especially in the last couple of weeks, has still been pretty good.
Yeah, the ACC as a whole experiencing the quote-unquote down year. Because if you look at you look at the rankings and you look at the bracketologies and all of that, you don't have anybody higher than Virginia, and like Carolina's like a 9 seed right now. And I feel like there's just a lot of ho-hum about this ACC, but I mean, does it not speak to some parity around the ACC?
Well, I think a couple things. One is I do think you're in a period of transition in the ACC simply because of the coaching changes at Duke and Carolina. I mean, when you have major coaching transitions like that, inevitably there's going to be a period of change. There's going to be a period of transition. There's going to be a time period where you're not just going to all of a sudden pick up right where things left off. Now, certainly the Tar Heels, we know what they did under Hubert Davis in his first year, and Carolina's having a very solid season so far to this point, and Duke's having a fine year, maybe not where they want to be at this moment, but certainly not a bad year. But I think when those two teams in particular are not in the top 5 or 21-2 through 23 games or whatever, I think that does affect the perception of the league because Carolina and Duke are such visible teams. That's number one. Number two, I don't think there is, at least right now, and I've said this to you before, Tank, I think, a great team in the league. I do think there are a lot of really good teams. I think you can name 9 or 10 teams that have some really positive qualities and are high-quality teams, but may have a hole or two that keep them from being, at least right now, in that nation's elite. But that doesn't mean they're bad teams. And then this is where I just need somebody to explain to me, how do you actually change where you are in the net once you get about 6 weeks into the season? Because it feels like you just get locked into this range in this very mysterious ranking that even if you win all your games, it's difficult to actually make any movement in the net. And when you beat one team, that's great, but then that drops them, and then that affects your net ranking. And so, I mean, it just feels like Carolina's won it's 4 in a row and 10 of the last 12, and I don't think they've moved at all in those net rankings. They've hung out in this like 25 to 30 range in the net almost consistently.
Yeah, 4-game winning streak is worth 1 point, apparently.
Right, and so, Tank, like, what value does that have to me if I'm a team? Like, who cares? Like, I'm just there to win the games. And so you can't control what your opponent's record is. You shouldn't try to beat a team by like Carolina beat State by too many points because it dropped State from a quad 1 win to a quad 2 win. But if they'd have been a little closer, then maybe they'd have stayed quad. I mean, that's stupid. And so just win the games, and then it should all shake out. And Hubert Davis said this last year when Carolina entered that tournament as an 8 seed. He said, I care 0% about the seed. I care about getting in. And he said, and then once you get in, it's all about who you play and how you play against that particular matchup against that team. Obviously, we all understand why being a better seed is better and why playing closer to home is better, and that's the Tar Heels desire those things. They want to be able to play in Greensboro, where there are first and second round games this year. That you want to be a higher seed. I understand all of those things, but it really is about getting in and then how you perform once you get there. But I sure would love somebody to explain. I mean, everybody thought, the Big 12 is so great. Well, they just all play each other all the time because you're in conference play now. So, of course those are good net games because that's where they already are. So, I don't know if that makes any sense to you, Tank, what I'm saying. It's very frustrating where there doesn't seem to be much ability to move once you get into about January, which is when you really start playing, the highest quality teams game in and game out.
Yeah, it completely makes sense. I wish I could be the one to explain it to you, but I can't. I'm not that guy. I will say this, though. I know this is a spicy hot take, but you know how to improve that seeding in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah.
Win the whole freaking thing. And
win your games.
Third place right now, good enough for a double bye in the ACC tournament. So we take home the championship. You could improve that seeding regardless of what the net says. All right, so the next game coming up for the Tar Heels is going to be next Wednesday in Chapel Hill against Pittsburgh. You'll hear it right here on ESPN Asheville, as you do each and every game. And then we got the quick turnaround to the Duke game on the 4th. So, Jones, we will catch up with you next Thursday, I guess, after the Pittsburgh game and preview Duke.
Fasounds good, Tank. Looking forward to it.
All right. It is the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400.
Traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic delays 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound slowing between Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound slow between NC 209 and US 276 in Haywood County. An accident reported Patton Avenue southbound south of New Leicester Highway. On Sardis Road northbound traffic is slow between Brevard Road and Sand Hill Road. Sweeten Creek Road north and southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your Time Saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech. This winter, there are new COVID-19 booster shots designed to help protect against recent Omicron variants. If it's been at least 2 months since your primary series or original booster, schedule your updated COVID-19 booster dose at vaccines.gov. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
On the free iHeartRadio app, you never pay to hear what you love, and you never wait to hear what you want. Save your money, save your time, and listen anywhere. Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
iHeartRadio. Confession, I'm a hopeless romantic, and I love a deal. I just went to Kohl's and earned Kohl's Cash, plus got an extra 15% off already great deals, like 60% off a necklace for my mom and 40% off PJs for my daughter. Not to mention, I found myself a fragrance set from Sephora at Kohl's for less than $50. With more gifts and more savings, what's not to love? Select styles. Offers end January 29th. Sephora coupons and Kohl's Cash do not apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Streaming only on Peacock. From the mind of Rian Johnson, the writer-director of Knives Out.
Miss Gale, you've got this gift. Always knowing the truth.
I only know if something is a lie. The real trick of it is to figure out why.
Natasha Lyonne is Charlie Cale.
It wasn't an accident. I think there's been a murder.
You watch too much Dateline.
A new 10-part mystery series.
Wolves on my fender. I gotta keep moving. I have been kind of a death magnet.
Poker Face. Streaming now only on Peacock.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need, and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
It is the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. Time to get weird, and you know, companies always find a way to try to get their name out there in the news, and so I'm going to do them a favor here. You come up with a funny little contest, and there's chances are that we're going to talk about it. So, Chicken of the Sea. This is the tuna company. And
the Jessica Simpson tuna
it's
company.
Fish. It's not chicken.
It's also gross.
Oh, it's fine.
Tuna is gross.
Oh,
I will never understand how people eat that. Yeah, that's like tuna is like fish stick level for me. I mean, it's in top 5. Just no, you could put $500 on that table. I wouldn't get through it.
Now, will you eat fresh tuna?
No,
you won't eat tuna like. Well, you're done with sashimi now. After the sashimi incident of 2022,
the great 2022 sashimi incident is we're getting closer back into that. I love fish. Tuna is not good. Okay. Tuna and catfish. That's 2 things I just don't. Ugh.
Interesting. I like tuna. I have purchased chicken of the sea tuna for many years. But, of course, if you know anything about this brand, you know that they have the mermaid as their logo. Well, they're doing a special contest that if anybody out there can find actual proof that mermaids are real, we're willing to give you $1 million. Okay, but you do realize that's not a real thing, right?
It might be. Look, there are people that still believe in Sam Squinch and birds and the Dallas Cowboys. All right, there are a lot of things that are fictitious that people believe in.
Yeah, that is very true. But if you can prove that mermaids do exist, then the company will give you $1 million. The potential winner would not only have to, these are according to the rules, would not only have to submit video evidence, they'd also have to set up an interview between the mermaid and the company's mermaid expert.
So, how do you get that job?
So chicken of the sea. You have a mermaid expert on staff, do you? Are they integral to the running of the company? Is this...
What does that particular feller do on a
exactly
on a random Tuesday?
Sure, yeah, random Tuesday, 4:00 in the afternoon.
Is he just sitting around watching Aquaman? Like, is that his whole job? Her whole job?
Yeah.
Whoever it is.
The official sweepstakes rule also stipulate, for avoidance of doubt, aquatic animals, i.e., manatee, fish, lobsters, dolphins, jellyfish, sharks, sea turtles, starfish, crabs, octopuses, I think it's octopi, but okay, whales, seahorses, squid, swordfish, shrimp, killer whales, manta rays, otters, and oysters, etc., are not mermaids. And for further avoidance of doubt, mythical oceanic, lake, river, or water-dwelling creatures, i.e. sirens, ocean-dwelling spirits and ghosts, blue men, kelpies, selkies, sea-water deities of myth or legend, i.e., well, I'm not going to go through all that, like King Triton. Those also not mermaids. But wait a minute. Disney told me that King Triton is a mermaid. I saw that movie when I was a wee little lad. And he was a mermaid. So, just saying, if you think King Triton is real, he might be the proof that there are mermaids out there.
Frankie Cleary in our YouTube comments said canned tuna is just low-quality cat food, and that might be the most accurate thing said on this show today.
High-quality cat food. Thank you very much.
I stick by what I said. A very common practice around the world that somehow is a great big problem is quickly coming to an end. password sharing on Netflix. First of all, I've never understood how people don't just pay the $7. It's an integral part of life at this point to have Netflix. Just, okay, don't give Mom and Meemaw and everybody your password for Netflix because they keep making this a thing. Well, the streaming giant has come out and said that they will have a definitive fix to this by the end of this quarter.
Sure they
which
will.
means by the end of March, they will have somehow figured out a way to beat people like me that are real good at this.
You don't even really have to be real good at it. Like, I'm trying to figure out. So what Netflix is saying is that they have figured a way to do something that no other streaming service has ever figured out how to do. Because I don't think there's one that exists. Like, I remember when I had when MLB.TV first came out.
Yes.
And I would have the whole package, and I would get all the Red Sox games.
You were the one subscriber to that, by the way.
No, stop that.
The streaming giant of MLB, which led to more. It's not on the television.
We would get all of the Red Sox games and all that, and we kept hearing threats year after year after year of, you better stop sharing your password. We're going to figure out how to make this work. First off, I get it. Baseball, not good at technological things. Okay.
No.
But does that work for any other service?
Well, here's, and maybe it's the marketing guy in me. This is what I don't understand. Do you know how many paid subscribers Netflix has?
Oh, it's got to be, I don't know, 100 million.
Oh, you were serious?
I don't know.
You're not even halfway there.
Well, there you go.
It's 231 million. So maybe this is the marketing guy in me. And I'm going to take a phrase that I use for something else, and I'm going to modify it for Netflix.
Okay.
Sell some damn ads. Stop worrying about people canceling your service. You have 230 million people subscribed to this. That would be like if you, and you don't have to sell it to a bunch of people. That would be like having Super Bowl ads times 3. Because we can't get away from it, and we're not going to stop watching Netflix. It's not like you got to sell a ton of them. It won't fix that big of a problem. I promise you it won't. You're worrying about the wrong thing. And stop releasing things an episode at a time to make sure I keep it. I've had this service for 10 years. Release it all to me at once. I've shown I'm not a flight risk, okay? New people to Netflix, you release things to them a month at a time. This is like Bond, okay? There are certain people that are pillars of the community that they are not a flight risk. There are other people that have a lot of means and opportunity and no friends, and they might fly away. Netflix, I've shown I'm here. I'm here for the long haul. I don't even know what credit card I pay you with anymore. I don't know, and I don't care.
You get grandfathered in because you've been there so long? Is that how
I've never canceled it for 1 second.
No.
So just... okay, when you comes out later this month, all of it. Don't break it up. Don't do it in 2 months. Give it all to me at once.
I do have to ask you this question, though. Were you a Netflix user when you were getting DVDs in the mail?
Yes.
Okay.
And do you know how many DVDs I ever got in the mail?
How many?
It was 4. Do you know how I know that? Because none of them ever went back, and I was charged for them. And so I stopped putting them in my queue because I don't care. I want to stream you. That's all. That's all the good you do for me.
Right.
There is no more. There's no extra awesomeness of you.
Yeah, I thought it was crap. I had to pay $75 for a copy of Scarface that didn't get sent back.
You paid $75. It was like $25.
Yeah, it was like a $75 charge.
I think I did it. I mean, I know I did it 4 times.
4 times.
If you gave me $1 million to tell you what those 4 movies are, I couldn't tell you.
Mm-mm.
I feel like at some point I've gotten domestic lights in, and they went bang bang. I don't know. I don't know where they went, and I don't care. This is not that hard to figure out. Patrick Holt said I canceled Hulu because of ads. Okay,
All right, here's step 2 of the marketing plan. And this is coming from a college dropout. Add $5 to it. No ads. Huzzah. A gentleman's agreement. Huzzah. This is not that hard. And Netflix has been doing this in a great big circle for 2 years.
You canceled Hulu because of ads, really?
Add $5. Add $5. You've officially given your penance to Hulu. No more ads. I, at this point, don't even know how many streaming services I have. They're all on a line on my television, and when I click it, I expect it to work. And do not send a stupid code to my cell phone because I don't know what email address this is to. Just go. All right? There's a play button on my remote, and you know what that play button means? It means go. I saw this story, and it made me so – I don't know why that makes me so angry. It does every time this comes up. This is the easiest thing to fix in the history of time. You know, we're really worried about you sharing your password with Meemaw. Well, Meemaw's not buying Netflix.
Right.
Show some ads. Maybe she'll buy what the ads, then you can charge more for ads. I think they taught me that on day 4.
They're afraid of people like Patrick Holt, who just can't be. You're going to waste 30 seconds of my time in the middle of my TV viewing? I can't possibly.
See, but you're one of those that will watch the ads to not pay the $5.
100%. It doesn't hurt me at all. I grew up with network television where you had to sit through the ads or flip to another channel and then come back.
I will turn off a Facebook reel if it shows me an ad. And I could be super invested in what I was watching. And if the universe intended me to see it, I'll come back and you'll start from right where I was with no ad.
Interesting.
But I don't pay for that.
It depends on how long the clip is. Like, if you're trying to show me a 15-second clip and it's a 30-second ad to get to the 15-second clip, well, I guess I'm just going to miss that 15-second clip. Like, I'm not investing more time in the ad than I am in the clip I'm trying to watch. But, yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with ads.
And you want to know why this makes me so angry? Because I know exactly how this is going to go. Because there's going to come a day, and to my knowledge, I don't think anyone has my Netflix password, but they might. What are you, a cop?
Mm-hmm.
Here's what's going to happen. There's going to be a thing that pops up on my screen that says you have to put your password back in. And I'm immediately going to go, I do not know what email account this is under. I do not know what my password is. I do not know what credit card this is paid with. And I don't care. I'm just giving you the money. Make it work.
It is the Sportsocracy. It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We'll be back after this.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Colder numbers settling into the valley tonight. We're down in the mid and low 20s, even some teens. Higher elevations, northwest winds continue to drop the humidity for Friday. Sunshine, high 44, low 27. 50s come back to Asheville this weekend, and our next chance for rain showing up early next week for Sunday and Monday. Some quarter-inch rains for Sunday afternoon and evening. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound, light delays between Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Haywood County, 40 westbound, stop and go between NC 209 and US 276. Sardis Road northbound slow between Bavard Road and Sand Hill Road. Hendersonville Road moving well. Sweeten Creek Road southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Checking the drive time from Bend Creek to Avery Creek via NC 191 southbound. Drive time 9 minutes.
This report is sponsored by First Restoration Services of Asheville.
First Restoration Services has been responding 24/7 to property damage from water, fire, and storm damage since 1987. If you have a disaster on your property, there's only one company to call first. First Restoration Services of Asheville, 684-1582.
I never write reviews, but Navage is so amazing, I had to leave one. Nothing's ever cleared out my sinuses as well. I'm blown away by how Navage works. That's a review from Carrie, and it's one of over 100,000 online testimonials praising Navage. I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I've talked about flushing out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs. How Navage's powered suction can help you breathe better, and how your nose is the body's air filter, and Navage will clean it out. But don't take my word for it. What do people like Chad say, who wrote, Navage has helped clear out my nasal passages every single night. My wife says my snoring has gone way down. Snorefest be gone, unquote. Navage is the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million customers to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Of course, your favorite station is on the free iHeartRadio app. Take us with you anywhere and listen anytime. Plus, get thousands of other stations and playlists all free. Download our free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
iHeartRadio.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelly Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
Welcome back into the Ingles Studio. It's ESPN Asheville. And we had a super chat earlier in the program.
I'm your huckleberry.
It was from Gage Camplin, who was asking, best matchup, Eagles and the 49ers? Is that the best matchup of the weekend?
I think he was asking what's the best matchup in that game.
Maybe in that game. Okay.
Because both of these are winner matchups, so I don't.
See, and that's where I'm kind of going.
It's like choosing between your children.
Right.
There's not a loser here.
Right. Do I go with...
In some cases, there's not a winner here, but that's another story for another
Do I
day.
go with quarterbacks 1 and 1A against each other, or do I go with defenses 1 and 1A going against each other? It's hard to pick best matchup. So the best matchup within the Eagles-49ers game? Is how you understand that?
Mine would be Jalen Hurts against the linebackers of the 49ers, because I think that's what decides this game. Look, both these defenses are good. San Francisco's better. Offensively, Philadelphia's better. I think the biggest I always lean on if I know what this stat looks like, I can tell you how this game goes. If Jalen Hurts if I could just see his stat line, no touchdowns, no nothing like that. How many times did you run? How many yards did you rush for? What was your completion percentage, and how many yards did you throw for? That probably tells me how this game goes. Because I'm just going to be honest, as reckless abandon as this 49er defense plays with, if he runs a lot, he may not make it out of the end of this game. And I have seen times where that's always been one of my big reservations about Jalen Hurts is there are not many people in this world that can rush it 17 times in an NFL game and it not have a copious effect on you going forward. This is one of those games where I need you to be able to throw darts. Because you trying to gain this with your legs is a recipe for absolute disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Because Drake Greenlaw and Fred Warner are coming at you at a speed that you are not used to seeing from a linebacker.
I'm going A.J. Brown against that secondary. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, how many holes are they going to be able to find in the secondary? I mean, we know how elite the pass rush is for the San Francisco 49ers. We know the linebacking core is really, really good. I think the secondary is the one thing that you might have a question about. I mean, once you get past Hufanga and the corner name, the number one corner's name just went out of my head.
Tre'Davious Ward.
Yeah. Once you get past those guys, it gets kind of thin. So I think, that's a way you said yesterday. If
if one of these teams scored a whole bunch of points, or if both teams scored a whole bunch of points, who's that play for?
See, to me, it plays into San Francisco perfectly.
See, I'm going Philadelphia on the quarterback that I trust the most.
I'm going to say something that's going to sound crazy. I'm not sure that I trust Jalen Hurts more than I trust Brock Purdy.
Really?
Because I know definitively I'm not asking Brock Purdy to do a ton. There's a reason Christian McCaffrey came out and said there is zero chance I'm not playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm going to try to explain this the best I can. So what we feel like has really changed the game for Philadelphia is that you have a guy in A.J. Brown that I just have to get you the ball in space. You are a threat deep, but you're also the best run after the catch receiver in the NFL. I have two of those in San Francisco, and I can argue I had a third. I need you to not turn the ball over. That's it. We did it last week. We showed it last week. However many points you score, we're going to hold them to slightly less. That is San Francisco 49er football in a nutshell.
Yes.
I don't see any path short of somehow it would take more mistakes than I can wrap my head around for Philadelphia to get out to a big lead. And now Brock's got to bring you back. Yeah, that's the recipe for this doesn't end well for San Francisco. I just don't see a path of it coming to that. I mean, this is the best defense in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Also going up against the best offensive line. And so I feel like the pass rush is going to be mitigated a little bit. They'll still get home. They'll still create a lot of pressure against Jalen. But I believe he's going to be able to find his spots in the secondary. So I'm going Jalen's arm against the secondary of the 49ers as my matchup of the game. Of course, we'll have more in-depth coverage of both games coming up tomorrow on a Football Friday.
With Asheville Police Chief David Zach, who has unfortunately officially been eliminated from postseason Beat the Chief.
Oh.
It's okay. All I have to do is pick with you, and you'll be eliminated.
Well, this is true. There's only there's a 2-game difference between the two of us.
And we got 3 games left. However, there will be a prop bet spectacular for the Super Bowl, as we always do.
Yes. That's where things fell apart last year. I never went back and tallied up all the props, so I have no idea how the playoff run ended last year for Beat the Chief. But Jeremy is your regular season champion for the first time in the 3-year history of this game.
Defending. I actually won last year. We tied, and and against my better judgment, because I was trying to be a jerk because I thought your team was going to get smoked in the national title game.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little cocky. Okay.
Tiebreaker game.
It's a thing we all do.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Stephen Tao asked a pretty good question, I think, in the YouTube comments. How are the Eagles better offensively? The 49ers have the better running back, better tight end, and the better wide receiver core as the whole. Yeah, but then you come back to Brock Purdy. And look, I have long been a Jalen Hurts detractor because I only think there's one way that he can win. He has to be able to hurt you with his legs. Or offensively, you have to be able to do absolutely nothing like the New York Giants just did. That's not happening against San Francisco.
No.
What DeMeco Ryans does just famously well is take away what is the one thing that stirs your offense. If I'm going to lose to you, I'm going to lose to you in the way that you did not plan on coming in here and beating me. And that's with Jalen Hurts throwing it all over the yard. I don't see that as that strikes me as a way Philadelphia gets smoked.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you can give me every stat you want to. This was one of the best running teams in the league. There were a lot of smoke and mirrors with how good this offense was, and it happened against a lot of bad teams. I'm not trying to rain on Philadelphia. You got here. You deserve to be here. There's no doubt about that. I'm just, at some point, the physical arm limitation of Jalen Hurts is going to rear its ugly head. The question is, do you have enough around you to make up for that? I don't know the answer to that because I've only seen you challenged a handful of times all year. Of course, then again, when you play the worst schedule in the league, that's not that difficult to do.
Right. All right, so those are our best matchups in the Eagles-Philly game. Another super chat here from Soaring Eagle.
I'm your huckleberry.
Says the Broncos head coaching search is showing that the media only cares about being first as opposed to being right.
It's not all of us, but there are a lot of people that go to Twitter and want to take what little tidbit of information that they have and run with that in the hopes that it ends up being correct.
So is this in regards to the latest report that D'Amico Ryans is the favorite now? Or did something else happen?
This
That's
is
my
like
question.
the sixth time we've had a new favorite in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
I said their plan A, plan B, plan C was Sean Payton. That now appears that's not going to happen because apparently he's told Fox he's coming back for another year. The jobs he wanted didn't open. He was intrigued by Denver, and at the end of the day, he came to the same realization that I tried to tell you from the get-go with him. He's going to eventually look at Russell Wilson and go, I am 60 years old, and I'm going to tie the rest of my career to Russell Wilson. I struggle to buy that. I come back to it's Dan Quinn. I said that from the jump. If it's not Sean Payton, he tells them no, they go back to Dan Quinn. And I won't be shocked if it happens in the next 48 hours.
Okay. The latest report, like I said, from Mike Cleese of 9 News there in Denver said that D'Amico Ryans has now emerged as the, or quote, a top candidate for this job. We already knew he was in the running for the job. But if it's him,
everything I hear is
there can't be anything done until after this weekend or the Super Bowl.
Everything I hear on D'Amico Ryans is that it's reunion with Houston. They're all in on him because that is the one hire they could make that would sell with the fan base. That could serve to be wrong. Denver's got exponentially more money. But I would still be shocked if it wasn't Dan Quinn.
Speaking of money, it's time after the break to make some money, as we'll have Jeremy's bangers of the night. Last night didn't go too well.
Not great. Thanks, Chicago. Up 17 in the first half.
They had a 21-point lead at one point and lost by 6 to the Indiana Pacers.
17 at the half.
Yikes. So anyway, Jeremy's bangers of the night. Coming up next.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slowing 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound slow between Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Future 26 westbound slow between Broadway Street and Elk Mountain Road. Haywood County 40 westbound slow between NC 209 and US 276. Sweeten Creek Road southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Checking the drive time from Swannanoa to Asheville via 40 westbound and 240 westbound. Drive time 17 minutes. I'm Lyndon Field with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. Taco Bell has $2 grilled chicken burritos that come in 2 bold flavors, Chipotle Ranch and Salsa Verde. They're bursting with grilled chicken and delicious sauces. Get your $2 grilled chicken burrito at participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only, while supplies last. Price and participation vary. Tax extra.
As a Lowe's MVP Rewards member, earn bonus points when you shop select products and brands. Redeem for e-gift cards and more. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Subject to program terms while supplies last. Points expire at end of calendar year. Visit Lowes.com/MVPs bonus points.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
That doesn't sound good.
Paper shredder's jammed, but I think I fixed it.
Oh, well, try shredding these $50 bills then.
Seems like it's working.
Better try another $400.
Stop. Instead of using money, use regular paper. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary.
Confession, I'm a hopeless romantic, and I love a deal. I just went to Kohl's and earned Kohl's Cash, plus got an extra 15% off already great deals, like 60% off a necklace for my mom and 40% off PJs for my daughter. Not to mention, I found myself a fragrance set from Sephora at Kohl's for less than $50. With more gifts and more savings, what's not to love? Select styles. Offers end January 29th. Sephora coupons and Kohl's Cash do not apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Make 2023 the year that you change your life and you win that battle with your weight problem. It can happen for you. I mean, I've said this time and time again in my life. I'm going to do better this year. I'm going to lose the weight. 2022, that was the year for me. The PhD weight loss program helped me lose more than 90 pounds last year. PhD's the way to go.
Many people in the new year say, new year, new me. The only problem is that they use a lot of the same tendencies, which leads to new year, same you. Sometimes you need a little help, and that's what PhD gives you. They give you plenty of the food. They give you all the direction, all the guidance. If it works for a guy like me that was as lazy with my food choices as I was, it will work for you. PhD weight loss.
I lived all of my adult life around the 300-pound mark, and now I'm down around 200 pounds, and I feel infinitely better, as you can imagine. Go to myphdweightloss.com today. It's myphdweightloss.com.
Welcome to Harvest Farms, where the best organic or natural products are waiting for you, where the fields are filled with flavorful delights, and every bite is backed with the highest quality and attention. This is a place of affordable organic adventure, where freshness reigns supreme, that can only be found at Ingles. Harvest Farms Organics. You'll love what's inside.
Coffee's the closer's only.
Get them the money. Then when you get the money, you get the power.
That watch costs more than your car.
Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
1-4 last night. Woof. We look to get back on the winning track with our best picks for tonight's games. This is Green on Green, brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings. Lighter slate in college and the NBA makes us search for value in places that we wouldn't always look for it. We start with the Michigan State Spartans, are a 2-point favorite tonight at home against Iowa. These are two traditionally good teams that have gotten off to kind of rough starts. Both of these teams need this win. Both can score. Two big differences that swing me here. Michigan State is at home, and Michigan State is a very good three-point shooting team, and Iowa struggles to defend the three. Vegas didn't give me a big enough number to scare me off, so I'm taking Sparty minus the 2. Next, UCLA is a 5-point favorite at USC. This seems to me as a narrative and recency bias kind of combined together. UCLA is one of the best defensive teams in the country, and USC can only attack you inside the arc, as they are one of the worst shooting teams in the country. When they played earlier this year at Pauley Pavilion, 2-point game. But UCLA was awful and still won. Don't look for another off night. I'll take the Bruins minus 5. In the NBA, the Cleveland Cavaliers are a 7.5-point favorite tonight at Houston. Houston's getting better as time goes on. It's the youngest team in the league, and tonight they host a Cleveland Cavalier team that, frankly, has been a little disappointing on the road. Only 9-15 on the year. However, one of Houston's biggest deficiencies is guarding volume scorers. They can hang with the Wizards and the Wolves, but Donovan Mitchell is going to eat their lunchbox, sandwich, chips, cookie, and the note from mom. Cavaliers in a boat race, minus 7.5. Finally, the Dallas Mavericks are a 1.5-point dog at Phoenix, over under 221. Phoenix is the mash unit of the NBA right now, and they're down to basically Chris Paul and the all-stars of your local YMCA. Christian Wood should eat tonight, as should Luka Doncic. And remember, there's been bad blood between these two teams for 2 years now, and the Mavericks won't hesitate to blow Phoenix out if they smell blood in the water. Give me the Mavericks plus 1.5. I'll back them in the money line as well, and I want the over 221. For more, follow us on all the social medias at The Sportsocracy. And as always, Green on Green is brought to you by Ingles Markets. Love the savings with Ingles. Love the winnings with me. Mull it out.
Go and do likewise, gents. The money's out there. You pick it up, it's yours. You don't, I got no sympathy for you.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Colder numbers settling into the valley tonight. We're down in the mid and low 20s, even some teens. Higher elevations, northwest winds continue to drop the humidity for Friday. Sunshine, high 44, low 27. 50s come back to Asheville this weekend, and our next chance for rain showing up early next week for Sunday and Monday. Some quarter-inch rains for Sunday afternoon and evening. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slowing 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound slow between Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Future 26 westbound slow between Broadway Street and Elk Mountain Road. Haywood County 40 westbound slow between NC 209 and US 276. Sweeten Creek Road southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Checking the drive time from Swannanoa to Asheville via 40 westbound and 240 westbound. Drive time 17 minutes. I'm Lee Benfield with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Save big store-wide at the Truckload event at Lowe's happening now. For a limited time, get deals on select tools and accessories. Shop the event in-store or online today. Valid 1/26 through 2/8 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for details.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The Carolina Panthers have a new head coach, Frank Reich, who was fired by the Colts after 4.5 seasons on the job. The Panthers have had 5 straight losing seasons. The conference championship game's now just 3 days away. In the NFC, the Eagles host the 49ers, who've won 12 games in a row. Philadelphia quarterback Jalen Hurts.
They're really good all across the board, and starts off with their front seven and then having a really good defensive back group. They fly to the ball. They're disruptive at every position. They're well coached. We have a task in front of us.
Jalen Hurts. In the AFC game, it's the Chiefs and Bengals. Kansas City quarterback Patrick Mahomes says he's been moving better than he expected after his high right ankle sprain. Dana Brown is the new GM of the Houston Astros. For the past 4 years, he was a vice president of the Braves. He replaces James Click, who turned down a 1-year deal after the team won the World Series. Men's semifinals at the Australian Open. Coverage starts tonight at 10 Eastern on ESPN. Stefanos Tsitsipas against Karen Khachanov.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Bonus. That's bonus. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. And good luck from ESPN Asheville.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy inside the Ingles studio here on ESPN Asheville. It's 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. And, of course, the Sportsocracy heard everywhere you go around the world on the iHeart Radio app. You can also watch us whenever we are live in the Ingles studio on YouTube. Just go to sportsocracy.com. Click that live video link. Subscribe to the channel. Get into the chat. You can join the House of Reprehensibles. Meager $2.99 a month fee to get in. Get your little beer mug next to your name in the chat. You can got super chats. You get into our Discord as well. And, of course, you all want to be subscribed to the channel so you get the alerts whenever we are live. Like when we do special things like our coverage of the AFC and NFC Championship games this coming weekend. We will have all of the games covered live in the Sportsocracy. It's always a good time. Want you to join us this weekend. Turn us on, turn the sound down on your television, and we will give you, the...
Yeah, because who needs to hear Tony Romo? And really?
Nah. Who needs Tony Romo?
Or Greg Olson.
Who needs Tony Romo when you have Flostradamus?
I will say Greg Olson's honesty about it'd really suck if Tom Brady came out of retirement and they replaced me with him. I found that to be rather refreshing.
What was he going to say?
Toe the company line. Well, Tom's a legend, and I'm just happy to be here. Blah.
No, he had fun as the number one
pretty good at
color analyst this year for the Fox Network, and like I said, I was going to say the same thing. He was pretty good at it. Is he Tony Romo? No, but there's only one Tony Romo.
Yeah, I'm starting to get annoyed by Tony Romo.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I get it. It's starting to irk me.
You've seen all his magic tricks, and now it's done.
It's almost like when you watch the. You remember when they did the Masked Magician and he showed how all the tricks were done? After that, I just kind of looked at magic and went, oh, woo.
All right, during the top of the hour break there, we did have some breaking news.
Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news?
That little dance you do will never cease to annoy me. This is from Ian Rappaport, and it's very ironically timed. Dallas Cowboy coordinator Dan Quinn has informed interested teams that he will be staying in Dallas.
Yes, Dan Quinn will not be the next head coach of the Denver Broncos.
So Denver, take luck. I don't know anymore.
You still have great choices. You can hold on for DeMeco Ryans, who very well could be available coming up after this Sunday.
By the way, how telling is it that the two most likely candidates when we originally did this have both said, I think I'm good.
Well, I mean,
I don't really want to come to a team with Russell Wilson that hemorrhaged its future for this disaster of a quarterback.
It is quite the statement. But you got DeMeco Ryans. You still have David Shaw. That's his name is still in the mix there.
I'm getting to a point of I'm not sure that's not the best hire you can make.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know, but we know it's not going to be Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn can now go be the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys yet again. And then he gets fired next year. I'm like,
he's not getting fired. Mike McCarthy, on the other hand, it's a possibility.
It is the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, top of the third hour of the program. It's time for the Daily Draft. And today's Daily Draft, focusing on the AFC and the NFC Championship games. Who are the most important units for each team going into this weekend?
So this would be position groupings: offensive line, running backs, wide receivers, defensive line, linebackers, secondary. And for me, there are several really good choices here, but I keep coming back to the one I've already talked about.
Okay.
It's the linebackers for the San Francisco 49ers. Because as you stated, that line for Philadelphia is the best offensive line in the league.
Yes.
However, I could argue that San Francisco has the best pairing of linebackers in this league, and it makes them uniquely equipped to stop Jalen Hurts. But you have to do it. Because if you give him time or you allow him to run, this team becomes exponentially tougher to stop. Because as you said, the one way to attack San Francisco is through the air. Nobody has run on them. Nobody. And for me, I look at that and go, as long as you do what you're supposed to do, and you put this in the hands of Jalen Hurts where he has to throw you into different coverages and he changes your game plan, that's the one way they can beat you.
Okay. I'm going to go with my first pick to the other game, to the AFC Championship game, the most important unit to me in that game. I mean, you could be easy and go quarterback because Patrick Mahomes, if he's going to be limited.
Yeah, quarterback's not a position group, so that's actually why we did this way.
But to me, that's –
because no kidding, the four quarterbacks are the most important players in the game.
Right.
And in other breaking news, grass is green and water's wet.
Indeed. But I think the most important position group does belong to the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's the secondary. It's the weakness of that team. You can get pressure up front. You got Chris Jones, obviously. We've talked about the linebackers being bad since they started this run of AFC Championship games 4 years ago.
Which is funny because they're really not.
With
Nick Bolton and Willie Gay, they're fine.
Right. Since Nick Bolton came into the picture here, he has only grown, and I feel like this secondary is the thing. Trent McDuffie coming back from the injury, the coverage against the slot got better when Trent McDuffie came back. But I still feel like you're going up against Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, throw Hayden Hurst in there as well.
Who was limited in practice today, by the way.
Yeah. Again, this is one of those things that, I'm not missing the game. I don't think any of that really matters. Although it does matter how hampered you're going to be during the actual action of the game. But to me, it's going to be the secondary of the Kansas City Chiefs. Because there is a path where they're bad and they get slaughtered.
I don't see a path that they get slaughtered, but I do see a path where if you cannot throw a timely stop here and there, you just don't have the chance. You're coming up against an absolute offensive juggernaut.
Yes.
Because they have something you don't have. You don't have a Jamar Chase. You got a Travis Kelce, and that's fantastic. He's probably the best player in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have a T. Higgins. I can argue you don't have a Tyler Boyd. I can also argue you don't have a Joe Mixon. So when it comes to just straight weapons, Cincinnati's got you, I think, pretty aggressively.
Yes.
So I'm not gonna lie, Kansas City secondary was one of my choices.
And then I think and then I have to go back to the NFC Championship game and go with the offensive line from the Philadelphia Eagles. Look, this past week, I felt like they did what they had to do. I mean, they did everything they could do in that shellacking of the New York Giants. I mean, hell, Kenny Gainwell had over 100 yards rushing in that game. They ran all over the Giants. And is it a different scenario against the San Francisco 49ers? Absolutely it is. But if I can keep San Francisco off balance, if I can keep them a step behind, it's going to be a tough task to do, but if I can do it, I feel like I have the advantage there. I don't know how many running lanes you're going to be able to open up. The best thing you can hope for is a muted day running the football, but you're able to keep the pressure off of Jalen.
Well, my next pick kind of piggybacks off what you just said, but I'm going to look at it from a slightly different perspective.
Okay.
I have no doubt if anybody can open the running lanes and keep this offense on pace, it's Philadelphia. I have no fear of the offensive line. So I'll be honest with you, they weren't even on my list. But since you've said that, it makes me feel like I have to go ahead and do this.
Okay.
It's the Eagles for running backs. You cannot give Nick Sirianni a reason to get off this game plan. And I promise you, I'm not just trying to take shots at this guy. This is a height he has never been to. Nick Sirianni has a level of, how do I put this nicely? Meathead. That when things don't go correctly, go back to the game with the Washington Commanders, when he gets off script, things go really cattywampus really quickly. I promise you that is not lost on Kyle Shanahan. I promise you that's not lost on D'Amico Ryans. And there is a part of me that thinks that first 3 series for Philadelphia offensively, you could be coming up against 7-man boxes where they just look at you and go, beat us any other way. And they try to grind you out of that. And if Miles Sanders and Kenny Gainwell can't get more than is blocked for them, that will be an interesting stat for me. Yards above, and I can't remember the name of the stat. It's eluding me right now. Yards beyond what is blocked for you. That's going to tell me a lot. If you can't make people miss and you give Sirianni a reason to turn away from the run game, you could easily see a path that I don't think you get boat raced. I don't think any of the 4 of these teams can get boat raced. But I could see a path where you're behind, I'll say 10 points. And the score looks close, but you never really feel like Philadelphia's a threat to win this game because you've put it all in the hands of Jalen Hurts. That's what Tampa Bay did last year. If you remember when they played in the wild card round last year, Tampa Bay just loaded up the box and went, you're going to beat us.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't do it. Now, he's got an A.J. Brown now that is markedly different than what we saw last year. But that is the way to beat them. At least that's how I feel that's the way to beat them. If you let them Philadelphia averaged 6-something yards a carry last week. Nobody's beating you that way. Cincinnati did the same thing to the Buffalo Bills. When you're in second and third and second and fourth constantly, you have no shot. You have to be able to keep the chains on your side. And if Philadelphia can do that, you're in a great position to succeed. My fear is that you're going to get exactly what is blocked for you. You're going to average somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 yards a carry, and 3 or 4 drives into this, you could see Nick Sirianni do that thing that he does, where now our entire running game is Jalen Hurts. And we've basically put it all on Jalen to win this game for us. I don't think you're beating San Francisco that way.
Mm-hmm. All right, so running backs for Philadelphia.
Philadelphia Eagle running backs, and weird. It's time for a commercial break. It's weird how I do that.
Yeah. All right, we will continue with the daily draft. Who are the most important units, position groups in the weekend's conference championship games? We'll continue the draft up next.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slowing 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 240 eastbound slow between exit 3 and exit 4A. 26 westbound slow between Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Future 26 westbound slowing between 240 and Elk Mountain Road. 40 eastbound near Charlotte Highway, an accident reported. In Haywood County, light delays 40 westbound between NC 209 and US 276. Merriman Avenue northbound approaching Edgewood Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road southbound slowing between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. I'm Lyndon Field with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business needs, from quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options. Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
I never write reviews, but Navage is so amazing I had to leave one. Nothing's ever cleared out my sinuses as well. I'm blown away by how Navage works. That's a review from Carrie, and it's one of over 100,000 online testimonials praising Navage. I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I've talked about flushing out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs. How Navage's powered suction can help you breathe better, and how your nose is the body's air filter, and Navage will clean it out. But don't take my word for it. What do people like Chad say, who wrote, Navage has helped clear out my nasal passages every single night. My wife says my snoring has gone way down. Snorefest be gone, unquote. Navage is the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million customers to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Our communities are filled with wonderful people who make living here great. At Home Trust Bank, we're proud of that. And that's why we focus on helping homeowners prepare for what's next. Our local mortgage bankers have the experience you need and exceptional personal service you'll appreciate. Home Trust Bank is ready to help make a house your home. When it's time to buy, visit your local Home Trust branch or go to htb.com/mortgage.
Welcome to Harvest Farms, where the best organic or natural products are waiting for you, where the fields are filled with flavorful delights, and every bite is backed with the highest quality and attention. This is a place of affordable organic adventure, where freshness reigns supreme, that can only be found at Ingles. Harvest Farms Organics. You'll love what's inside.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
The Sportsocracy.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man!
Welcome back into the Daily Draft here on ESPN Asheville, and we're talking about the most important units coming up in the conference championship games this weekend. Jeremy had the first pick of the draft. He went with the linebackers of the San Francisco 49ers. Then I had the secondary of the Chiefs and the offensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles. Jeremy goes with the running backs from Philadelphia. And then
the offensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Ooh, that's a good one.
You were phenomenal last week. Jackson Carman stepped in at left tackle and was just a road grader at times. This is a slightly different predicament because you do have guys like Karlaftis and Frank Clark, but then there's that one big scary bear in the middle that I think makes it even more imperative that Alex Kappa is able to go. And that's going to be what's really interesting to me. What do you do if Jonah Williams is up and Alex Kappa is down? Because I personally
move him to guard.
Would move Jonah Williams to guard.
Yes, because he's a guard.
And because I'm looking at the pieces I have. I know that Jonah Williams can play at guard. And that probably takes – because he's not going to be 100% regardless. And I know this is not optimal. But I'm looking at Jackson Carman going, you're probably our best hope at left tackle. Because that's probably the best game we've had from a left tackle all year long. And my biggest fear is that they get pressure from the interior. And if they do, we're in trouble. So Alex Kappa, to me, is one of the most important start sits of the year. When the inactives come out, that's the one name I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm. My next most important unit of the conference championship games, it's going to be the Cincinnati Bengals defensive line. I get the concerns you have about the offensive line, but the defensive line needs to be able to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes. He's got a high ankle sprain. He's obviously not going to be 100%. He's going to play. He was never not going to play in this game. But you want to limit what he can do? The game plan that Lou Anarumo has put together for this team has really, I don't want to say mitigated, but in a way it has mitigated Patrick Mahomes for the last 3 outings. They continuously just drop guys into coverage and make Patrick hold the ball and make the decision of where to go. But you need to speed up that process. You need to not let him sit around and think so much. You need to not let him create so much with his legs, which I get is a hard thing to do. Nobody's been able to figure out how to completely stop him from doing it for the last 5 years.
Well, he's already stopped himself. The legs of Patrick Mahomes are not going to be a problem in this game. Because I got news for you. Unless he's Superman or he's made of titanium, you ain't going to be running on that ankle. I've seen me do it, and now Pat Mahomes is a little smaller than me, but when you've had that much weight on that ankle, it's not 100%, and you're not going to be running on it.
Right. You need to make sure that he is on the move, he is on the run, he is hampered by that injury. And a great way to do that is to get the pressure up front because, Trey Hendrickson, he's a dog. Pretty good at getting pressure.
Sam Hubbard.
Sam Hubbard, yeah.
Good.
Between the two of them, I think they've had 115 pressures this year. Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson. So that, to me, that's your path to success. Make Patrick Mahomes as uncomfortable as possible and let your offense do the work.
And then
it's really difficult to me once we get to this point to pick who's most important because I want to have I've picked one from every team, so I want to have a San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'll go with the offensive line of the San Francisco 49ers. Because you look at a team like Philadelphia that routinely gets pressure, that routinely gets home. What was it? What was the stat? 4 guys with over 10 sacks this year. I get your offense. Your offensive line is great. It's probably number 2 in the league behind the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe Kansas City's got something to say about that, and you're 3. Either way, I'm going to need you to be on your game this weekend. Not that they won't. But
I get Trent Williams, so that makes me feel pretty
good. Sure. And I need Mike McGlinchey to have a good game. Like I'm really concerned about the right side of that offensive line. The left side doesn't really concern me all that much. I feel like Jake Brendel has been pretty good in the middle. The right side needs a little bit of help, but you're going to do so many things. Kyle Shanahan's going to do so many things to keep the defense guessing on the other side. That all I need you to do is just live up to the standard. You just live up to the standard, and we're all going to be fine.
So this little exercise has shown me something in very short order.
Yes.
I wrote down 8 units, 2 for each team, because I was in the same boat as you of I wanted 1 per team.
Yes.
Of my top 6, you took exactly and it was your first one.
Mm-hmm.
The Kansas City Chiefs offensive line was my 3, and I am stunned that I let you have 2 cracks at that and you didn't take it. Pat Mahomes with that ankle, you better not let them get home. Because if they do, and you start shortening these windows, the interceptions will come tumbling after. This is a whole different ball game. And I've heard he's a baseball player. Well, baseball players throw with their legs too. It's a motion. There's a reason that when we go through the scouting combine, we talk about your motion. I get Pat Mahomes can do some off-balance things, different arm angles. He has single-handedly entered new terms into the lexicon of how you scout quarterbacks. At the end of the day, I've never seen a quarterback on one leg that didn't have some accuracy issues. You start compounding that by allowing them to get home, and it could spell disaster. And I'm looking directly at Orlando Brown. I've never thought he was a left tackle. He has had good games this year, but not been tremendously consistent. And this is a good line for Kansas City. You need to have your best day of the year, because I will tell you, I've heard as much as you would hear from a coach, and Lou Anarumo basically said, our plan is to heat him up, and we'll find out just exactly where that ankle is, and we'll figure it out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And if they smell blood in the water, do not be shocked if you start seeing exotic blitzes off the edge. I thought it was very telling that was something he talked about, was Mike Hilton coming off the edge and changing the offensive line structure and changing the blocking scheme. That tells me he's got some exotics prepared for this game. And the chess match between him and Andy Reid is just going to be fabulous to me.
Yes.
So now I have to double up with a team. The other part of this I've learned is I think you and I see these 2 games going completely different ways. Mine's the 49ers receiver room. So I'm lumping George Kittle into that as well. You're going to have to make this as easy as humanly possible for Brock Purdy, which means Ayuk is going to have to win, Debo's going to have to win, George Kittle's going to have to win. And I think the most important of the group is Kittle, and that's the one Purdy has the best rapport with. This is a good Eagles secondary, and they have a lot of malleable pieces. So they can throw some exotic things at you as well. You're going to have to win one-on-one. Because if you don't, Brock Purdy's a sitting duck.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to double up with the San Francisco 49ers, but I'm going to take the other offensive weapons. I'm taking the running backs. Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell. To me, that's the path to success. Christian McCaffrey has already said, no shot, I'm not playing in this game, as we all knew was going to happen. Here's the thing, is that the San Francisco 49ers need to be able to run the ball, and they're going to be able to. Philadelphia, yes, there was that, they had what? The stretch of the season that was right around like week 8 through 10 or something like that. Remember we talked about how this team needs to figure out how to stop the run, or they are not going to win all the games that we expect them to.
The first half of the season, the run defense was a sieve. It has gotten better over time. It's still not great.
I was going to say it did get better. overtime. But do you realize that from week 14 to the divisional round of the playoffs, they've given up over 128 yards rushing per game? That's not good, especially when you see a pair of dynamic running backs like San Francisco can throw at you. And that's not just them. I mean, that can bring Deebo Samuel into the fold, whatever, jet sweeps they're going to be running with him. I like San Francisco in this game. I still haven't made up my mind which official way I'm going to go with the pick of this game. I think it's going to be phenomenal, but I think it all hinges on how well they're able to move the ball on the ground against Philadelphia. You tell me Christian McCaffrey has over 120 total yards in this game, there's no shot that Philadelphia wins.
I don't know that I would go that far, but I understand where you're coming from.
So, to me, running backs from San Francisco, very, very important to the game this weekend. Obviously, all the position groups are important when it comes to conference championship time because one of you is going to the Supers Bowl. And the other one is going to have a lot of questions about what's coming up next year because, of course, everybody, especially in the AFC, is going to be terrified when Aaron Rodgers goes to the Big Apple.
Woo!
And leads the Jets to their first Super Bowl since 1969. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, it'll be time for the most important message of the day.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Colder numbers settling into the valley tonight. We're down in the mid and low 20s, even some teens. Higher elevations, northwest winds continue to drop the humidity for Friday. Sunshine, high 44, low 27. 50s come back to Asheville this weekend, and our next chance for rain showing up early next week for Sunday and Monday. Some quarter-inch rains for Sunday afternoon and evening. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slowing 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 240 eastbound slow between exit 3 and exit 4A. 26 westbound slow between Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Future 26 westbound slowing between 240 and Elk Mountain Road. 40 eastbound near Charlotte Highway, an accident reported. In Haywood County, light delays 40 westbound between NC 209 and US 276. Merriman Avenue northbound approaching Edgewood Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road southbound slowing between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
Only iHeartRadio gives you access to all.
iHeartRadio.
Access to all of your favorite radio stations.
It's Ryan Seacrest. I go by the name of Charlamagne the God.
Hi, I'm Ellen Kay.
Bobby Bones here. Hola, soy Enrique Santos.
Access to all of the best free curated playlists.
My favorite music. The best songs.
A little bit of everything.
Access to all of the great podcasts for every interest.
The Stuff You Should Know podcast.
The Daily Show podcast.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
And best of all, it doesn't cost a thing. Download the absolutely free iHeartRadio app now.
Support is a powerful thing. It feels good to have a friend in your corner, right? 1 Million Strong is an impact initiative committed to transforming the way people think about addiction and experience recovery. If you live with addiction or have a loved one who does, 1 Million Strong is for you. You have friends in your corner. Find support by signing up at 1millionstrong.com.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Take lights now. And why in the world? Why in the world would I want to go back to a time where I couldn't do that?
I feel like there may be there may be something wrong with you if you've just never had that feeling. Like if I knew today or knew then what I know now, would you go back and change it? We've all thought about that at some point, and I guess that's what this one woman in New Jersey was thinking when she decided to enroll in a local high school with the New Brunswick School Board. She presented a birth certificate and enrolled as a brand new student at New Brunswick High School. And she went there for 4 days until they found out she's not who she says she was. This woman's 29 years old.
But for why?
I don't know. Were you expecting that this was just you were just going to be able to get away with this, and maybe this is my second shot at a future? Take all the things that I've learned in my years since high school, and then I'll be able to pass all the tests. I'll get into a college. I'll go to college, and I'll just keep up this little ruse forever. But it only lasted 4 days until they ran some numbers and ran the background checks and all of that. And then when they went, oh, wait, well, this person actually does not exist. So now there's a big, a big reform coming for the New Brunswick School District as they've got to go through and identify fake documents or how to identify fake documents and all of that. After a 29-year-old woman forged a birth certificate and enrolled in school. They say no kids were put in danger, and all the kids have now been told not to have any contact with this person in or outside of school. We'll see how you could have any contact with her inside school since she has been forever banned from any New Brunswick School District property.
I mean,
29 years old.
It would be one thing if you thought, okay, I'm going to go back and finish my diploma. You had to lie about who you were. So how exactly do you think it's going to work?
Don't know.
Do you think this weird fictitious alias that just appeared at 29 years old is going to fool people?
Does 29 does that put you in cougar territory? Is that
no?
Like I don't know. She into younger guys? I don't know what you were expecting to get out of this.
I got absolutely no idea.
And, of course, authorities are not telling us anything about the motive for said decision. But be on the lookout, I guess, for 29-year-old women who might want to try to go to high school again. I don't know.
My story is about 23-year-old Dion Howard. He lives in Rockford, Illinois. And I don't really know what he thought he was going to get out of the crime he committed. He stole a van.
Okay. Sell it for
Don't
parts?
do that. Don't do that. But this wasn't just any van. This was a van that belonged to Collins and Stone. It's a business in Rockford, Illinois.
Okay.
Give me one guess what they do.
I don't know. Is it a cleaning van?
It's a funeral home.
Uh-huh.
He stole a van from out in front of a funeral home. This is not the first time I've told a story just like this, and it is not the first time that it's ended the exact way this one's going to.
Tell me it had a body in it.
It had the body of 47-year-old Curtis Brown in the back of it. So Mr. Howard steals the van, and he fled. Officers receive a call that the van had fled Rockford towards the Chicago area. That was on Thursday. Sunday, they find the van in Chicago, located in the 1400 block of East 87th Street.
Okay.
There was no Curtis Brown in the back. So now we've got the van, but we don't know where the body that was in the back of the van has gone. Well, Monday, they found Mr. Brown in the 8200 block of South Manistee Street in Chicago. I Google Maps'd this. That's 6 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
But for why did you do that? Because you understand that's another felony charge on top of it. On top of just being a god-awful human being.
But did he just leave the poor guy sitting on the side of the road somewhere?
Yes.
Oh.
He set his body out on the side of the street and then tried to evade further. Why do you not just leave the van? I mean, you're already just a terrible human being in the first place. Now you're in like that special level of after when this life ends for you, the next life not going to be particularly great. He has been charged by the Winnebago State's Attorney's Office with unlawful possession of a stolen vehicle and abuse of a corpse. He is still on the run. He has not been found yet. And if you were to see anything, call the Rockford Police Department.
Indeed.
You're an awful person. Stop stealing funeral home vans. Stop stealing cars, period.
Well, they left it running. It was begging to be stole.
It's out in front of a funeral home. It's just, ugh. I hate the world we live in sometimes.
Yeah.
You want to know why I'm such a recluse? It's because I read enough stories like that. I'm not really a recluse. I just don't particularly like people sometimes.
For somebody who doesn't like people, you sure go out a lot.
Well, that's because I like domestic lights, okay? And that's where you find them, out.
Or at the grocery store.
I didn't say I didn't find them there, too.
Ingles Supermarkets, low prices, love the savings.
Bingo.
You could get all the domestic lights you want at home.
I'm headed there after the show. Pick up a little steak. We'll have all the accompaniment with that and some domestic lights. But sometimes when, your better half falls asleep because she keeps a normal schedule and you're still awake at 10:30 and you're in the living room by yourself, you go, this is a problem. This is not good, and I ought not do this. So you go into public.
So you go to the bar. It's conveniently located just 100 feet from your house.
And, when you say it that way, you make it sound bad. And I don't appreciate that. Jerk.
Well, I mean, I don't really have to spend this to make you look bad. I mean,
that's fine. It's fine.
You're like one step away from a meeting.
No.
You should be.
No. I've got a particular set of skills, like Liam Neeson.
If you are just joining us, maybe you're just getting off work, haven't been in touch with the news cycle. What's been going on today? Well, we had some major news open up the program of a couple of coaches that got hired in the NFL. Carolina Panthers fans, you can be angry if you want to, but it's not really going to help anything. Steve Wilks did not get your job. Carolina Panthers announcing today that Frank Reich will be the new head coach of the Carolina Panthers, and I feel like this is the best move that they could make. We told you this yesterday when the 3 finalists were out there.
It was the only move to make.
Of course it was.
Do I need to bring back that list of coaches that got promoted after the old interim gig? You know what? There was a very common thread here. Most of them were not very successful.
That's right. Not very good. So at least you get a head coach who has more experience in this league than just a year and a half, like Steve Wilks. You get a guy who's coached in the playoffs. I get he hasn't won, but he's still been to the playoffs. I'm not fully down the Brian Daboll street of playoff experience. Doesn't matter. No, he did win a game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he won a game in the playoffs. This is the best hire that you could possibly make.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt. And if you're seeing all of the candidates that are apparently dropping like flies, Dan Quinn has added himself to the Ben Johnson list of, I'm good. I'm going to stay exactly where I am.
Yes.
I do find it funny that he interviewed with the Cardinals, and that's when he went, I'm good. You know what? Jerry's kooky, But I like it here. And you know what? Maybe Dan Quinn has the same setup I do. There's a bar right down the street from the house. I don't want to move. I got it pretty good here. And I would really rather not play this game with Kyler Murray.
No. I don't feel like I don't feel like that's a huge surprise. I know Dan Quinn was a finalist for several jobs. He was in the talks for the Denver Broncos job. He's in the talks for the Arizona Cardinals job. Came back for a second interview with the Cardinals. I get it. But I think he's doing everybody a favor here. I mean, maybe I'm just so
Dan
far.
Quinn.
I don't hate him. He's
You
just
hate Dan Quinn.
He's just not great. How many major leagues did they blow?
He coached the team to a Super Bowl. How many major leagues have they blown since? That's just not Dan Quinn. That whole roster has kept doing it even after he was long gone.
Sure. I just don't think he's a very good head coach.
And I do. I think he will be a formidable coach for somebody. It just won't be this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be honest with you. There's a very simple reason, and I said it in the first hour. These openings are not very good. I mean, just outside of Carolina, it's not ironic that that's the first job that filled.
Mm-hmm.
Because you look around and go, man, this is just layers of nonsensical filth. And the Indianapolis Colts, I've got a kooky owner that never stops talking. And we've got some ammo to go get a quarterback. But the roster's not great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the defense is good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any weapons. And that's probably the second most palatable job.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and by the way, they just hired a guy off the street to coach this team for the last 8 weeks of the season.
You got the Arizona Cardinals and the Denver Broncos. Both those jobs are hampered by their quarterbacks.
I'm tied to very expensive quarterbacks that have their own set of issues.
Massive, massive egos.
Now, outside of that, I think both of those rosters are good.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the Broncos roster is better.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of raw talent in Arizona. But, I mean, it's very telling that coaches go interview for these jobs and then they go, you know what, I'm good where I'm at. Next year, there's no telling what could open up. I mean, and don't kid yourself that that's not a part of this. The Dan Quinns and the Ben Johnsons looking at it going, you know, if the Jets don't make the playoffs, that job could be open.
Mm-hmm.
If the Chargers don't win in the playoffs, that job could be open. If the Cowboys don't win in the playoffs, that job could be open. Those three are all three more attractive than any job that opened in the cycle.
Absolutely.
And I didn't even talk about the Houston Texans that I'm pretty sure they've been making their decisions by using a magic 8-ball.
It's a talentless roster with, a couple of pieces.
And you don't even have the number one pick because you had to beat one of the other losers that needs a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you.
But you do have a very high pick. And so at least there's that, but that's not enough to get me to go tie my first head coaching job or my second stint as a head coach in this league after the first failed stint to Nick Caserio. It's just not happening. And then you had the big news.
The headline of the day.
Yeah, out of the Big Apple as the New York Jets.
Get your betting slips in now for the 2024 Super Bowl champion, New York Jets.
The New York Jets hiring Nathaniel Hackett, failed head coach with the Denver Broncos, but a pretty successful offensive coordinator as their offensive coordinator, and his connection with Aaron Rodgers cannot be denied. All of the talk about Aaron Rodgers being open to being an MVP and if the scenario was right, talking about restructuring his contract, winding up in a different place. All of that. And apparently he also, for 2 or 3 minutes on the Pat McAfee show, started talking about New York Jets wide receivers.
Yeah, because he's already in love. It's a match made in heaven. Let's just go ahead and get this done. I mean, it's not even wait for the Super Bowl or the offseason. Maybe we just get this done tomorrow.
Will the New York Jets be able to swing the trade and get Aaron Rodgers from Green Bay to reunite him with Nathaniel Hackett? This team is a quarterback away from being an absolute threat.
Super Bowl favorite. That's not me being a homer. This team has 2 of the 5 best young defensive players in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably one of the 3 to 5 best young wide receivers in the league. Oh, yeah, and you have 4 outrageously talented running backs. I understand why Aaron Rodgers is because he's laying clues at this too. He's playing into this, which should surprise no one because it's what Aaron Rodgers does.
Right.
He's a bit of a drama queen, and he feels a little slighted by Green Bay, and now his buddy's in New York, and I would say he probably knew that was coming. And so he's just been laying little breadcrumbs. Hey, you tie the pieces together. I'll figure out what I'm going to do eventually.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Will they make the big trade? Will they get Aaron Rodgers? Will they fulfill Jeremy's dream of actually contending and being a favorite for a Super Bowl? It all remains to be seen.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slow 240 westbound between Chuns Cove Road and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound, light delays between Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Future 26 westbound slowing between 240 and Elk Mountain Road. 40 westbound delays between Hendersonville Road and Bavard Road. Merriman Avenue northbound approaching Edgewood Road, heavy delays. Sardis Road northbound slow between Bavard Road and Sand Hill Road. Sweeten Creek Road southbound delays between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. I'm Lyndon Field with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
Hey, this is Peter Schrager from the NFL Network's morning show, Good Morning Football. You've also seen me on NFL Sidelines and in studio for Fox Sports on Sunday. Well, I've got a new podcast with iHeart in the NFL, and we're calling it The Season with Peter Schrager. In each episode of this season, I'm going to empty my proverbial notebook and take you inside and behind the scenes on the conversations that happen at the highest levels of NFL franchises. Listen to The Season with Peter Schrager on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Dad, I don't feel good.
I'll grab the Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey.
Isn't DayQuil just for parents?
Actually, Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey is just for kids, specially designed to treat kids' most bothersome cold symptoms quickly with a honeylicious tasting flavor kids like.
You know what else kids like?
DayQuil Kids Honey first, then video games.
Deal.
Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey, the kids' honeylicious daytime coughing, congestion, stuffy head, stuffy nose medicine. Safe for ages 6+.
When I finally drove the old car into the grave, I knew there was only one place I was going to go. Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville, home of the family plan. And yes, they treat you like family. I went in, told them what I was looking for, told them my budget, and in no time, I was signing the paperwork on my certified pre-owned vehicle. They have the area's largest selection on quality pre-owned vehicles and certified Nissans. They go through a 167-point inspection, so you know it's not going to let you down. They gave me the Carfax report, so I know the history of my vehicle. And the Fred Anderson family plan gives me things like oil changes and car washes and loaner cars if I have to have major work done on the car in the future. For me, buying a car has always been an intimidating thought. But the folks at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville made it super easy. Don't be like me. Don't wait till the last minute to get a deal done. Go to AndersonNissan.com or stop by the showroom at 629 Brevard Road. And don't forget to mention we sent you from the Sportsocracy and get a $250 bonus on your trade-in at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
It is the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, back inside the Ingles Studio to close out a Thursday here in the Sportsocracy, and tomorrow is a Football Friday.
It's not just a Football Friday. It's an anniversary show. Tomorrow will be our 3-year anniversary here on 92.9, 880, and 1400. Now, the show has had 2 names.
Only 3 years, really.
Trust me, it's
it feels like so much longer than 3 years, although it does At the same time, still feel like it was yesterday.
It's been an interesting ride, and we're so glad that so many of you have come along for it with us.
Absolutely.
It still dumbfounds me when people ask if recognize the voice. I'm sure you've been getting that forever. Mm-hmm. This is new to me.
Mm-hmm.
And when people want to take pictures with me, it still dumbfounds me. I'm like, but why? I look like a hobo. I have a very homeless person look to me.
But you soak in the moment.
Oh, I'm not saying I don't. It still takes me back sometimes. Like, but for why? I'm just a big old dumb animal with some sports takes.
It's one of the great things about this job is that, you sit in a studio every day and you just kind of talk to the walls. Or in, our case, I've got Jeremy to bounce the ideas off of. And obviously the YouTube stream helps with the chat and everything. But you feel like, am I doing anything? Is it hitting home? Am I entertaining the masses like the intention is? And then when you get a little bit of, you get a little bit of recognition for that, whether it be running into somebody in public and they just absolutely freak out, like I listen to you every day, that kind of thing. It reminds you that you're not just sitting here spouting into the wind. Like, you're actually accomplishing a goal.
And nobody ever freaks out when they meet me. More of them seem like they're getting ready, like they've got 9-1 dialed on their phone and they're waiting for me to confirm who I am so they can hit the last one.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually how it goes with me. Like, okay, this guy did something. I don't know what it is, but he did something.
Right. So 3 years. Tomorrow will be the 3-year anniversary show of the Sportsocracy. It was amazing. Amazing that it's been the journey that it has been of coming on Super Bowl week, talking about ramping up for the Super Bowl, and of course that first show dealing with the sadness that was the passing of Kobe Bryant, which happened the day before the show debuted here on ESPN Asheville. It's been a great journey, and we thank everybody for their support. You continue to show up to events and hit us up on social media and get into the chat each and every day. And we can't thank you enough. We cannot thank you enough. Tomorrow's going to be a Football Friday. We'll have all of our picks for the weekend of all the games, all 2 of them. This is going to be a hell of a weekend.
Oh, yeah. I feel like for tomorrow we should pull out the original open to the show, which I'm not going to lie to you. I was trying to remember last night what it sounded like, and I don't remember.
Huh. Yeah. I probably got it somewhere.
I have absolutely no idea.
Right. Back when it was the Sports Tank with Jeremy Greene. How times have changed. But how they stay the same. Because we still stay committed to the craft. We still stay committed to keeping you up to date on all the things that are important around the sports world. And we will continue to do so with the Football Friday tomorrow, breaking down both the AFC and the NFC Championship games. Don't forget, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you'll get that alert when we go live right around or just before 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon for the coverage of both of the games, San Francisco versus Philadelphia, and then the nightcapper, Kansas City and Cincinnati.
And you know what that'll be? Conference Championship football!
We'll see you back tomorrow.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Colder numbers settling into the valley tonight. We're down in the mid and low 20s, even some teens. Higher elevations, northwest winds continue to drop the humidity for Friday. Sunshine, high 44, low 27. 50s come back to Asheville this weekend, and our next chance for rain showing up early next week for Sunday and Monday. Some quarter-inch rains for Sunday afternoon and evening. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slowing 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound, light delays between Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Future 26 westbound near Elk Mountain Road, traffic is slowing. Merriman Avenue northbound, approaching Edgewood Road, traffic is slow. Sweeten Creek Road southbound slow between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. Hendersonville Road moving well. Smoky Park Highway, no problems. I'm Lyndon Field with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and